It's Deadline Day. Welcome to our Deadline Day show. We're live for the next 3 hours trying to drag it out because there's nothing happening in the West Ham world. We've got plenty to talk about. Coming up tonight, we've got various guests lined up. We'll be extremely interactive with the live chat throughout as well. It's going to be a random kerfuffle. We don't know what's coming up. We don't know. It's going to be fun, though. And at some point, we're going to give away a mug. We're going to give away a mug about halfway through the show as well. But I've got a couple of guests lined up. The first one might be joining us very, very soon. We'll wait and see. But anyway, Gonzo, how you doing?
Not bad, mate. You all right?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm a bit annoyed about... Well, we'll get on to it, I'm sure. But generally speaking, non-West Ham striker related, I'm doing quite good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Are you were you expecting many things today, were you, and nothing's happened, or?
It's the first time I've expected nothing and still been disappointed.
Expecting having got nothing.
Do you know what I mean? You know that old phrase, if you expect nothing, you can't be disappointed. Well, actually, I've expected nothing, but yet still found myself somewhat a little bit disappointed. It's frustrating more than anything because I don't understand it. I think this is the real frustration here. I sort of get it, but I don't understand why we are taking the risk that we are away to take. And also, I just think I thought last night was a missed opportunity against Liverpool, but I think today is an even bigger missed opportunity, and that's for the longer term or the future. Last night was a 90-minute thing. It's gone. It's done. We can get over it. But I think the opportunity that is in our hands today, I think that's a bigger one, and I think it's a very unnecessary risk we're away to take, Gonzo.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that you've said there. I do. I can only hope that. See, here's what I think's happened. Let me say this from the outset. I think we've sold Sebastian Haller because David Moyes has seen a striker that he wants. I suspect. I don't know. I suspect that it's this En-Nesyri, and the reason being it's the only one that Moyes admitted we'd done a bid for. So out of all these names, and let's be fair, at the start of this window, a load of names were chucked at us, none of which were Jesse Lingard, by the way, but a load of names were chucked at us, all these strikers, and the only one that Moyes decided to comment on was En-Nesyri. And he even said we'd made a couple of bids for him. So that's what I think's happened. I think maybe David Sullivan's gone to David Moyes and said, look, we've had a bid for Sebastian Haller. Do you want to get rid of him? And there possibly there's been a conversation about how much money do I get? And possibly David Sullivan's turned around and said, well, you know what, I'll give you the 20 million net or whatever we're due to receive from him. David Moyes has probably thought, well, actually, I can see this guy that I want to sign. And he didn't want to come. And I think that's it. I think that's what's happened in this window. And I think from there, is he then prepared to go and buy his, his eighth choice, or he might not even have an eighth choice. He might well just be that actually. And if so, then that's something we perhaps should have explored before we sold Sebastian Haller. Maybe we should have spoke to this guy, because I don't think it was really an issue with Sevilla. We didn't get that far. We bid the 27 million. We were going to go up to 33, and like the centre back at Marseille, the guy just said he didn't want to come, and you can understand that. He scored a hat-trick. He moved Sevilla at that particular point up to third in La Liga. Why would he want to come to West Ham? And I just think at that point, we'd sold our striker. We'd got some money earmarked for this one particular guy, and he didn't want to arrive.
But how do we not find that out before we suppose Sebastian Haller? Because it seemed like within putting in the first bid, it seemed pretty evident from the word go he did not want to join West Ham United. His agent was saying he doesn't want to come. He's not coming to you. Sevilla was saying we're not selling him for that price. You're going to have to pay a lot more. So how have we not sounded this deal out prior to letting Sebastian Haller move? If that was David Moyes' number one target, David Moyes would have chosen him before Sebastian Haller left. We didn't sell Sebastian Haller, and 2 days later, Moyes said, well, I'll have this guy, please. We know what David Moyes is like. David Moyes will have probably been watching this guy since September or something. He's probably been looking at this guy for a while now. So how have we not already done our due diligence to find out this guy even wanted to come to West Ham? We've sold the Haller, gone to him, and he said, I don't want to come. I thought, oh, fucker, now what do we do? It's just frustrating. I sort of get it. Wait till the summer and try and get him again this summer. I get that. But I think short term, I think it's a massive risk we're way to endure. I don't believe there's not someone we could have gotten in the short term. We're seeing Josh King at the minute. Josh King's was on the verge of joining Fulham. Everton have now swooped late on by the sounds of it. It sounds like Everton have made a move with 3 hours to go. They've been sort of interested all day, but it looks like they've put down a bid 3 hours before the deadline for around £5 million. So they've decided we'll get this guy in. He's going to do us. Josh Maja has joined Fulham on loan for the rest of the season. It's just frustrating, really, and I think it's risky. Now, listen, whether people... I am aware Sebastian Aller's transfer is deemed a failure. I can accept that. It has been a failure. We bought him for 45, sold him for 20 within 18 months. It is a failure. However, he scored 3 goals in the league, only 3, but they earned us 3 points. The draw against the Crystal Palace and the win against Sheffield United. That 3 points is the difference between us in 5th and Aston Villa in 9th at the minute. It's huge. We've now just taken away his goal contributions. And I know what we're getting told. We're getting told that Yarmolenko will be our second striker. I can tell you what's going to happen. Where we have the same issues as Sebastian Aller, we're going to put Yarmolenko up front and then complain he's not Antonio. He's nothing like Michail Antonio. Moyes himself said we need to get another striker like Michail Antonio. He's looked at Yarmolenko and said, well, I'll play that guy up front this season. But it doesn't fit with what you've just said. You just told us you need someone else. Anyway, we've got our guest, Gonzo. Are you ready? I've got a surprise.
I'm always ready for this fella.
I got you a surprise, Gonzo. It's deadline day. West Ham have disappointed you, but I wasn't going to disappoint you. I've got Gonzo, a surprise guest tonight, Mr. Chris Scobusi.
How you doing, fellas?
Hello, Chris.
Hey, good to see you guys.
How are you, mate?
Yeah. Can't complain, mate. Can't complain, Gio, Gonzo. Always good to see you guys. But like you said, deadline day. What a day it's turning out to be.
It's dead, anyway.
Yeah.
Go on.
Some might call it Monday.
Oh, mate, honestly, I tell you what.
He's lost for words. Scobusi's lost for words. What's going on?
He looks like David Sullivan. Looks like David Sullivan when he's seen the price of the Sevilla striker.
Exactly. I mean, you know, our club. I just don't get it. You know, we've had the best start ever. You know, this could be the boys of '86 all over again, and we've gone and blown it. And you know, I mean, you know, I wasn't a particular Haller fan. He had some nice glimpses. But don't understand why we sold him if we had no desire to replace him with somebody that could be a focal of our attack. And as you know, I'm on a negative. I don't want to be, but I'm thinking, you know, having thought, oh my gosh, you know, top 6, you know, top 8, pushing forward for who knows. I mean, don't be stupid, but you know. We're going to end up with, I don't know, we're lucky to get 50 points. I mean, Antonio, I know, you know, the guy's done great. Lockdown specialist, lots of play without a crowd. He's going to get injured. You know he's going to get injured. So what do we do? I mean, are we going to play the Man City sort of Spanish, no striker? Just really rely on goals from midfield. I mean, imagine if Souček gets injured. Imagine Souček is out 3 or 4 games. Antonio out 10 games. Season done. Goals done. I mean, I don't want to be a moaner and a complainer. We've had a great season. What a great season it's been. But honestly, at the moment, I'm sitting here with 3 hours to go. We're done. We're done. I can't believe it. So fellas.
Is it a lack of ambition, Chris? Is that what it is? Is the board just showing a lack of ambition to try and push on and get that European spaces, or what? Or is it Moyes being a bit unsure of who he wants to bring in? Where do you think it's gone wrong for West Ham in regards to getting a striker in?
Well, we've been here before. I mean, if you put a list of all the strikers we've been linked with this transfer window, and with 3 hours to go, we've got 0. How many times have we're going for this guy? You know, we always go for some great names, apparently, and end up with nobody. So we've been here before. I mean, I am not a ball stater. I'm not. That's not my style, right? But somewhere between the last 3 or 4 managers, and this sort of issue, you've got to lay it at the board somewhere. Somewhere we're just being tight and we're not paying the money. We want top quality strikers, don't want to play top quality prizes. Now, I know we paid 45 million big ones for Haller and it didn't work. So I'm not saying the board never ever spend. But this scenario always happens to us. We end up with a damp squid and then drag anybody through the line. I mean, and we think, well, how did that happen? But we don't go for what the manager really wants. And so, yeah, I think on this case, I mean, Moyes is a professional. He's never going to say it, is he?
No.
I don't think we backed him. I don't think we backed him with what he really wanted.
I've got that list for you, Chris. I've got a list for you as well, Gonzo. Here we go.
I ain't got time. We've only got until 11 o'clock.
Rattle through it. Don't worry, I speak fastly anyway. Don't worry, I rattle through it. Broly Dia, Josh King, Josh Madja, Diego Costa, Simone, El Nesri, Marko Natovic, Milik, Wang Hee-chan, Akubar, Dzeko, Edward, Armstrong, Andre Silva, Delort, Laborde, Player, Sar, Daka, Piatek, Niketa, Sima, Jovic, Mariano, Hosek, and Graziano Pella. 26
and a partridge in a pear tree.
There you go. 26 strikers we've been linked with, 0 signed. But Chris, let's park the striker thing for a minute. The season so far, we're sitting 5th in the league. What do you make of the season so far, Chris?
I mean, you can't be anything but happy. I mean, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey, and whatever happens, it's been an amazing journey. We can sit here now. Well, just beginning in February, and know we're staying up. And it appears that's good enough for them. Oh, I'm going negative again. So,
Love that.
Sorry. Oh, what a great season! It's been a fantastic season. And okay, we had a bad game against Liverpool, but they're the champions. They're the champions. So we can't. We had a tremendous season. It's been exhilarating. It's been wonderful. It's been, like the game against Palace. I couldn't believe that we had a chance to get into the top 4, and we actually took it. We took it. That's just not the West Ham way. So, it's been a fantastic season. Been a brilliant ride. Been able to laugh at some of my friends. Watching Tottenham and Chelsea struggling. We're the best team in London at the moment. Obviously, that's not going to last very long now. But, we're the best team in London. Oh, shut up. I've gone negative again. We're the best team in London at the moment. I mean, it's just magnificent. What a year to be alive as a West Ham fan. It's been absolutely fantastic. And honestly, I really wish for the board. I thought, throw a little bit more money in. And you know what? Maybe all's forgiven. We're top 6. And then you can say, well, I told you would get us there. I mean, but there you go. Oh, here we go again. I'm supposed to be excited. I'm supposed to be really, and I am. Look, I am really excited. We've had a great year. I think Souček is pound for pound the best scoring midfielder we've had since Frankie Lampard. It's been amazing to watch him operate. It's been amazing to see the maturity of Declan Rice. And I tell you what, a fella. I mean, that guy could have gone. Declan Rice could have gone. He could have pushed it. He could have pushed his weight around. He could have gone. He could be with Chelsea, and Lampard might not have got the sack. He stayed. All the bit of captain. What a great. Bonner's been brilliant. Dawson, what a revelation! I mean, I can't believe him because I was one of the guys when he got into the team. I thought, what? I like Diop, but Dawson's been magnificent. What a season we've had! It's been a great year.
Speaking of Souček and that, Chris, one thing I'm worried about personally is I think this window the club could have said to Souček and Declan Rice, this is our ambition. We're 4th. We're putting down the money. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere in the summer. Stay with us. We're going to go for it. And I'm a bit worried now that Declan Rice in particular is looking at the club thinking, hang on a minute, back the gaffer. We've got here. We've had a little bit of luck. We've had no injuries. Yes, Antonio was injured, but apart from that, we've not had any major injuries. We've not been struck with COVID, unlike some other clubs have in the Premier League and stuff. We've had a bit of luck. We've got to 4th in the league, and you've stood still. You've sold the striker and not done anything. And I just worry that sends a wrong message to Declan Rice and other players in the squad.
Well, and moreover, it sends the right message to other clubs. If you are a top 4, top 6 club now, so Chelsea, Man United, you basically said to them, we're not ambitious. If you've got the money, come and get these guys. We basically said to them, we're a shop window and we're just happy to stay in the league. And so, if you're Souček, and what do we pay for him? 20 million? Was it 20 million we paid for Souček? You pay 50 million, you can have him. If you're Rice, pay you 8 million, you can have him. That's what we're basically saying, isn't it? We're saying we're not really going anywhere. We know we've got opportunities, but whoa, slow down a little bit. Pick our best players and you can have them. And we'll go again. And so if you're Rice and you're Souček, who can blame them? As a footballer, you've got 10 years max. You want to win a few things. And you're probably not going to do that at West Ham if they sell their only striker, the only recognised striker, and keep Antonio, who's playing as the centre forward and has done a real good job. He's hit and miss, but he's hit more times than he's missed in the last year. And you keep him knowing he can be injured, then you're really saying we're not really ambitious, are we? So, I've got another one. But there you go. It is what it is. Let's enjoy Souček. Let's enjoy Rice while we've got them. Because if they decide to move on at the end of the summer, or if the agents decide to move them on at the end of the summer and we get the money, they're going to go.
Speaking of one player we did get, though, Jesse Lingard. What's your opinions on the sign of Jesse Lingard, Chris?
I hope he does well for us. He's got all the motivation to do so. He wants to get back into the European, back into the England team for the Europeans. I was a bit head scratch, really. I mean, if there's one thing we've got an abundance of, it's attacking midfielders. Bowen, Fornells, Lanzini, Benrahma. Okay, Lingard. Okay. Bit more the same. I forgot Yarmolenko. So that was a bit of a head scratch, really. I would have thought I could imagine us getting a left back cover. Okay, I could imagine doing that. I could imagine getting a centre forward, attacking midfielder. No, I didn't see it. So unless Moyes has got a plan, I mean, maybe he thinks he can convert Yarmolenko to a striker, or maybe he thinks. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. But having said that, maybe Jesse comes for us and he scores 7-8 goals in this half of the year, and we go, what a result! What a mosiah! So I'm not slating Jesse. He's obviously a good player. You don't play for Man United unless you've got something about you. You don't play for England unless you've got something about you. I just didn't see it coming, and I'm not doing backflips, But good luck, I wish him all the best.
And just quickly, I'll let Gonzo ask you a few questions in a minute. Now you've seen where we are in the league, you've seen what we've done in the transfer window. What's your aims for the rest of the season, Chris? Has that changed from what they were on day one of the season?
Oh, no. I mean, I think really, if I be realistic, the top 10 finish is great for West Ham. Not having done what we've done to start off with, but actually, a top 10 finish for West Ham is a great result. We are West Ham United, and that's the mentality of the board. And I guess in the end, that's got to be the mentality of us fans. We can't get upset by losing to Liverpool or Man City or anything like that. We've got to have our days out in the sunshine, every now and again, beat dirty Spurs and be happy with that. So, yeah, I think we'll do what we would have done. 8-12, somewhere in between, mid-table mediocrity. But this time we've had a little bit of flair and a great start. And in the end, you won't complain. It'll be like, okay, it was great. I was there when we had a great start.
I was there when we had a great start.
But the end. How it ended.
I love that. I was there when we had a great start.
What a time! What a start to be alive.
Because come on, European football. We've won.
You've got to have a little bit of hope, though, Chris. That's what being a football fan's all about, isn't it? It's about praying and hoping and dreaming and having been allowed to dream. The last few years at West Ham, I don't think we've even been allowed to dream. We've been dreaming of surviving the Premier League, but this season now we've actually got something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if I've got any dream left, if I've got any dream left, it's the FA Cup. It is we turn up at Man United, and we turn them over, and if we turn them over, the magic is alive. So as I sit here today talking to you, the FA Cup is my dream. And even if we got to the semi-final and bowed out there, that would be fantastic. I would talk about this season. You know, I daren't dream about winning the FA Cup. I daren't dream about winning the FA Cup. Yeah, but let's dream about beating Man United. Let's dream about getting to the semi-final. And then when we're in the semi-final, we can dream about being in the final. And then oh my God, please, Akabisi, shut up. You're biting your pillow. I'll wake up, I'll kick him away. I'll kick him up.
Please, come.
I say,
it's like the West Ham striker search. It's all over the shop.
He made a lovely contact with a table there. No, nice technique, Chris.
If only Antonio could have done that when he had his shot last night.
But that would have been a down. Look, I am a happy hammer. I am. It's been a great season, and hats off to the manager, hats off to the team, and you can hear when they talk that they themselves believe. You know, I heard Declan Rice speaking after the Liverpool game, and you could tell he was disappointed. He expected more of himself and a team. That's a great sign. You know, we've gone down 1-0. And we fought back. That's a great sign. The Palace game, there was only one team in it, even when we went behind. That's a great sign. So, boy, I don't want to be on a downer. I'm actually really, really happy with our club and the way we performed and the way the boys have been. You know, you can see the cohesion, you can see the belief, you can see the teamwork and everything. It's just such a pity they weren't backed up. You know, and you know, it really, because it doesn't make sense. Whatever you think of Haller, it just doesn't make sense to get rid of him if you weren't really, really, really going to go for a striker to back up Antonio, to rest his hamstrings. Why would you put him on? You know, I mean, again, the game against Liverpool, you've got to take Antonio off with 15 minutes to go. You can't afford to bust his hamstrings. The game is gone. Well, are we going to do it all the time? Here we go again. So, you know, as you can tell, I mean, this is probably wrong time because I've been sitting there, glancing at the TV, expecting rabbit at the hat. There you go. We surprised you. There you go. West Ham, we were doing it all undercover. You know, this was our secret squirrel. And boom, we pulled out a player for you. There you go, West Ham. You know, that's what I was expecting. But now I've lost it. There's no chance. And Gonzo, there's no chance, is there, mate?
Mate, listen, not only is there no rabbit, there's no hat. I'm afraid, my friends.
We sold it.
We sold the hat. Yeah. We auctioned it off. It was the Upton Park hat has long gone. Listen, I'm with you on a lot of what you're saying. And I don't want to be too negative because I didn't expect anything from this window. I didn't. I know what you're saying. Were they doing a little covert deal and then they were going to present us with our new £30 million striker tonight? I understand. It would have been nice. I didn't think they were going to do it. I just don't think they were going to spend it. And I feel that this whole video and this whole transfer deadline day and everything today would have felt very different had we beaten Liverpool last night and then we'd have, you know, nothing happens today. And we think, okay, we can take that. But I'll tell you what, I don't know about anyone else. This sucked the wind out me sails, that defeat yesterday. And I think because I bought into the hype a little bit anyway. I wanted to know, though, because I go on quite a lot about pace when we do our videos and sort of lack of pace. Because I know a lot about running, Chris. But considering you're here, you might know a little bit more than me. You know, Olympian, world champion, gold medalist in Tokyo with yourself and Roger Black and, hold on, Derek Redmond. Wait, Johnny Two Chest Regis.
Hey, there you go, get you, son.
There you go. What do you think about the pace in the team? Because I know our fitness is good. Obviously, you're dealing with 400s there, which is obviously endurance and sprinting. I know our general fitness is good. I know that. I know we can run a lot. But in terms of pace in the team, what do you think when we see it? I think sometimes we don't have necessary pace in the team to sort of transition and counter-attack in the way that I think Moyes wants us to. I want us to sign faster players, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have sheer pace. We don't have like the Theo Walcotts of this world, do we? We don't. But Bowen's quick enough. I think the problem we might have is, and it's not. Well, when I say it's a problem, actually, our team this year has done a great job of ensuring our flankers get back and defend. And I know people keep saying Bowen's off the boil. I don't think he's off the boil. I think he works so hard for the team. I mean, he's back. Covering Kofar, and he's trying to get back and forward. So, but I think he's quick enough. I think that if he was more forward facing, he would have the pace. But I don't think you can do both. I don't think you can be up and back, up and back, up and back. And I mean, as a sprinter, you can't do it. You cannot be exercising your fast twitch fibers, and then expect speed endurance as well. It doesn't work like that.
So we might not get this. We might not get this player, this fast player that I want. Then, if that's the case,
well, not if what you want him to do is up and back, up and back, up and back. No, you can't do that because then you're going for a speed endurance type of player. You're not going for a sheer sprinter. I mean, Vardy in his day had pace, but he's not going up and back, up and back, up and back, is he? No, he's hanging around and then darting in the spaces. So if you want a sheer pace performer, you have to say to him, "You don't come back, son." No, what we want you is to be lurking 5 meters away from the defenders and then running into the spaces, using your pace to out-sprint them and get into the channels. But we don't play like that. And I think, to be fair, Antonio has tried to play like that, and that is why he keeps doing his hamstring. Because as a sprinter, you cannot have your fast twitch fiber bouncing like that ad infinitum. It doesn't work like that.
Do you know what? I've never even given it any thought. You're absolutely right. Well, someone you'd know. I remember Ron Rodden. You'd know talking about twitch muscle and this, that, and the other. You're absolutely. I never really thought of it like. It's actually built a bit like Regis, I guess, in that respect, isn't he, Antonio? Do you know what I mean? So, I guess.
Just imagine if you said to Regis and Christie, I'll tell you what. I'm going to want you to do 10 100-meter sprints in the next 45 minutes. They will give you some choice words. And you don't want to hear them, mate.
Bennifer might have done. I'm sure John would have been very gentlemanly. And
Right, listen, sorry to butt in, but Gonzo's got to go and do a couple of things in a minute. But Chris, just before you go, sum up you as a West Ham fan right now with the season so far, the transfer window, so on and so forth. Give us a summary of the Chris Scobusi feelings.
Look, it's been a fantastic season. One that I completely did not see coming. I'm really happy to be a Hammer. It's been a fantastic year. But right at the end, I think the board blew their chance. I really do, and I'm not. I am not GSB out. That's definitely not me. All right, but I just don't get it. This is my thinking. If I was to be speaking to Mr. Gold, Mr. Sullivan, I would have been saying to those guys, "Listen, fellas, you're gentlemen of a certain age, and you've invested your money in this club. We're watching you any ill. You can't take it with you. But what you could take with you is a phenomenal legacy and a name. And right here, right now, you've got this club with a manager who's got the players all with him. If you just give him a chance, he could leave you a lasting legacy that will go on in the annals of history. And fellas, I think you've blown it.
I love that. I love that, Mr. Chris Scobusi. Yeah, I want to say before you go, Chris, there's a lot of love for you in the live chat right now. I don't know if you can see it. Me and Gonzo can see the live chat, and there's a lot of love for you. And the people are buzzing to see you on here. People are agreeing with every word you're saying in that speech. You've got a standing ovation on a live chat if there is such a thing.
Thanks, fellas. We all
Listen,
love
Chris,
West Ham.
thank
We
you.
all want the best, don't we? We all want the best, but it's just so frustrating to be so close, so close, and then to have it taken away. I mean, gosh, who knows? We could be dumbfounded, but why would you take away Haller and give him nothing? Say, build this house, but we're going to give you straw. I don't get it.
Chris Scobusi, thank you very much. Keep in touch. You're a gent as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. Take care,
See you,
fellas.
mate. See ya.
Did you enjoy your guest, Gonzo? You're a little surprised.
I did. Thank you. And to be fair, it's worth pointing out. There's lots of people in the chat there, and they're loving Chris. And they know Chris, but there'll be people that don't know. Chris Scobusi came on our show when basically we used to get watched by one geezer picking his nose, sat next to his dog. That was our audience, and Chris came on.
How many subs do you think we had? About 500?
Oh, 3 or something. I don't know. Not many.
I reckon we had about 500 subscribers when he first came on, and he was.
Yeah, but we were probably getting 100 people watching the videos or something like that. He came on. He was so infused. Well, he's always enthusiastic, clearly.
Gonzo was starstruck because that was his.
That was my Chris was my hero growing up. I'll dig him out. I've got pictures of myself with Chris when I'm 10, when I'm 13, when I'm 15. I was mad into athletics. Chris's family used to live around the corner from me in Barkingside as well. That's my hero. That is my hero right there.
I remember you being buzzing about him coming on. I remember you being excited like a little child. Bear in mind, we'd only just started YouTube, so we were still nervous doing our own shows just like this. We were still a bit Add in Gonzo's childhood hero.
Yeah. But still, my mum, because my mum wasn't, my mum wasn't like a football mum with me. Do you know what I mean? My mum used to take me to athletics and stuff. That's what we used to do. So when we first got Chris on, my mum couldn't believe it. She still doesn't. She thinks I think my mum thinks we talk to 2 people or something like that. She just thinks he always him. He goes down his shed and he does stuff. So every so often she goes, Chris Scobusi, what's Chris Scobusi talking to you for? There you go.
I don't know, to be fair.
Cheers, mum. Yeah,
anyway,
no, absolutely.
Anyway, Gonzo's got to disappear.
Go.
But before he does, just want to say a massive thank you to Escaping the Rat Race UK. He says that Moyes is under promising in the hope that he over delivers. Let's hope he does the same as fans. Expect less and be happy when we do well. Top 10 is good for me. Right, Charlie, are you ready for our next guest?
I am. I'm excited.
Hello, but the next guest is ready, so we've got to whiz into the next one. Can you add them because it's audio only for our next guest? So can you just click him in? Thank you.
Should be live now. We should be able to hear him.
Mr. X, can you hear us?
I can, mate, and I'm hoping that you two react as excitedly as Gonzo just did to Chris being on, mate.
You are very much my Chris Scobusi. I want you to know that on a personal level.
Charlie's excited.
I'm excited.
Do you have posters of me on the wall?
Yeah, it's just the bowling gates.
Okay,
yeah.
In fairness, you are on this poster somewhere, aren't you?
I am actually, mate. Yeah, I'm a silhouette.
Yeah, I mean, you're somewhere. I'll look for you later. X. What's the news? What's the latest?
Not a lot, really. If you want news about me, I can tell you stuff, but about West Ham, probably not a lot.
No, but what's your thoughts then? Your personal opinions? No striker coming in. What do you make of that?
Obviously, probably my opinions are the same as pretty much 99.9 of our fan base, and I think it's a massive gamble. We all know that Antonio is a hamstring injury away from probably being out for the rest of the season, and yeah, so then not have another forward so that we can rely on, and that's saying that he's a forward. I mean, obviously he started as a winger, but yeah, I think it's a massive gamble. I understand that given the track record of forward signings in the past, they want to get it right. However, anyone on loan would be better than no one, I would say.
Yeah, we've got a question here from you. Just Mr. Ilan says, X, any news on Idrissa Gana Gueye?
At the moment, I haven't got anything. I don't ever commit to anything until I've got 2 sources to confirm whether, like, either way. But I haven't heard anything at the moment. I've sent texts, but I'm waiting those to come back in, I'm afraid. So at the moment, I would say no, because I think there isn't going to be any business this window. But as I have maintained, you get these odd things that come up right at the end, and Sullivan licks his lips and thinks, yeah, I'm going to take a bit of that, and it comes out of nowhere. But at this point, I would say no.
I'm a bit surprised, personally, that Sullivan hasn't tried to do something. He usually gets involved in some way, especially transfer deadline day. He's like a big child, isn't he? This is his day, his favourite day of the year. This is his Christmas day, and he's not bothered to do anything. So is David Moyes sort of the man that's going to control David Sullivan almost in the transfer market to some extent, or are we seeing two stubborn men? Moyes doesn't want who Sullivan can get, and Sullivan can't get who Moyes wants. Therefore, they just get no one.
Yeah, see, I think it's a bit of both, to be honest with you. I think, like you said, I think Moyes is very much his own man when it comes to transfers, and fair play to him, because that's probably what we've needed. We know how many times we brought in these random South Americans that play like 0 games for us and stuff, just so that Sullivan can have his little dabble in the transfer market. And also how many times we sign players that just are not worth signing just for the sake of signing someone. So in that respect, I'm quite glad that he's not signing random people, but it just seems really, really bizarre that we all panicked that we only had Hilaire and Antonio going into the season. We're now only got Antonio, and it just seems a massive, massive gamble. And I am surprised they didn't bring anyone in. Moyes has stated he wants to bring someone in. So it's what camp you sit in. Do you sit in the camp of David Sullivan never pays enough to bring in the targets the managers want? Or do you sit in the camp that Moyes dithers, which is another thing that's said, and doesn't, take gambles? Or, it's a bit split, isn't it, at the moment? But I think most people will say it's Sullivan not spending what he should spend.
What camp are you in?
Good question. Probably more in the camp of that Sullivan's not spent what he should spend. I think the problem is, if Moyes says we've gone for 2 or 3 targets and not got them, then you ask, why have you not got them? And the obvious reason is because you've not offered enough money. And then that puts the buck at him, doesn't it? Sullivan, I mean. So
yeah, I feel a bit unpopular with this, but I'm a bit of both. I've got one foot in both, to be honest with you, because if Moyes' number 1 target was the Sevilla striker, and the Sevilla strikers turned around on day 1 and said, I do not want to come, then that's not David Sullivan's fault to some extent. The guy won't come, There's nothing Sullivan can really do about that. But I just think they're both too far apart. They're both really stubborn. And I don't think it happened in the summer, didn't it, with the centre-backs? Moyes wanted Tarkowski. Sullivan wanted to go get that guy that sounds like ice cream from Marseille. What's his name, Charlie? Not Carter, but it sounds like him.
Can't pronounce his name.
Coletta, I think, something like that. Coletta.
I've heard you try and pronounce names. I'm not asking you. You struggle to pronounce Declan Rice.
Yeah, that's very, very true, mate. Declan Quas, I know.
But you know my point, though. Sullivan's going, oh, here's all these players I can get. And Moyes says, I don't want them, I want these. And Sullivan said, well, I can't get you them. And then they both sort of just cross their arms and sit down and don't speak to each other.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can see why you'd be in both camps. You are right. You don't want to sign a player for the sake of signing a player that's not even going to play. But I just think there must be a forward out there somewhere across any league, across any division that could do a semi-decent job for us. I mean, yes, Yarmolenko played quite well against Doncaster, but he's had other chances up front and not really done that much. You got Odubeku, who by all reports is talented but very, very raw. And then you've got Antonio, who I don't think's at full fitness at the moment anyway, and is likely to get injured again. It's just such a gamble, because the minute Antonio does get injured, the fans are going to be turning on them again. It's going to be really, really negative. So if you'd looked at who our 2 best signings have been recently, you'd say Shuchek, and this is going to be my pronunciations now, and Shafau, and they're come from nowhere, really, haven't they? And look what they've done. So there's got to be someone out there with the right scouting and the right recruitment that could come in and do a semi-decent job. And if you got them on loan to the end of the season, then you haven't really lost that much anyway. Just get rid of them.
We've got a question here for you from Bryce. He says, how's the lawnmower working, mate?
I haven't used the lawnmower since my last experiences, and this is to people that don't listen to the podcast. This is going to be a very random comment, but yeah, it's my last experiences of the lawnmower were not pleasant, but that was due to my own not reading of the instructions. And I read the instructions; it might have been more pleasurable. So I'm going to save it to the weekend where I'm on my own and I've got a bit of time, and yeah, we'll try again, and then I'll let you know.
We've got a question here from T36. He's put a couple of quid in the full-time fund. Thank you, mate. And he says, what striker did you want the most?
Well, my foreign football knowledge is not great, to be fair, so my opinion's probably not the best on that. But I'd want someone that has proven they can score goals and has the same attributes as what Antonio has, because we've seen, no matter what your opinion is on Allaire, the main opinion seemed to be that he didn't fit our system. Good player, but didn't fit our system. So therefore, you have to get a player that does fit our system. And I actually quite liked the look of that French fella, Dia. Oh, I say French fella, based in France. He was like Senegalese international, wasn't he? But I liked the look of him because I thought from looking at YouTube, which isn't the greatest scouting resource, but looking at that and reading reports and seeing how many goals he's scored this season, I thought he would have been a decent gamble. But it is what it is. I also like Armstrong at Blackburn. I think he looks quite decent from what I've seen. But yeah, I don't know enough about these players, to be honest with you.
There's a lot of love for you in the chat at the minute. KM asks, are you of the opinion of any targets that we've had this window which will materialise in the summer? If so, which?
That's a good question. Well, I think they'll probably revisit the Spanish striker. The Spanish-based striker. I guess it depends how the team do this season. I think they're in the Champions League, aren't they? And pushing for another Champions League spot. If they don't achieve anything with that, perhaps they'll go back in for him. I think they do like the look of the Celtic striker. What's his name? Edouard. Yeah, him. I think they like the looks of him, and they'll probably monitor how he does over the remaining months of the season, and then just sort of take it from there. But they will. I know this slightly. We thought they'd do it this window, but they have to sign a striker in the summer. They have to. So I'd imagine that some of those would be revisited.
We've got a question here from Woody Allen, who's a regular of your West Ham Way podcast and one of your patrons as well. So I'm afraid you're going to have to answer this one, or he might cancel his subscription. He says, hope you're well, X. He said, do we really want Josh King? If so, how are other clubs being linked with him for less than what we offered?
Yeah, it's a strange one, that, isn't it? It really is strange, because we were really, really keen to get him in the summer, and then they chose Ben Rama over him, and yeah, I don't know why they've not gone back in for him. Maybe it was his championship form. I know he hasn't played every game, but he's done next to nothing this season, hasn't he? And maybe his attitude, as a result, got shown up because of that. Because I think he's obviously not applied himself as well this year, and so yeah, maybe they just changed their mind on what he'd done since the summer. But it does seem a very odd one. I mean, at the moment, as far as I know, he's not joined anyone, has he? He's had like Everton and Fulham and a few other teams looking at him. But yeah, let's hope we don't live to regret that one.
Good man. Just won't keep you too much longer. Before you go, sum up your feelings about West Ham in a minute. Not just a transfer window, but the season as a whole.
Obviously, I'm loving how we're doing. Never thought we'd be doing as well as we are. Thought we'd be in for another relegation struggle, probably. But, we're doing the complete opposite. So you can't complain at all. The fact that we're sitting fifth. We are still fifth, aren't we? We haven't checked it since last night. Yeah, we are. So sitting fifth, and looking at actually looking at Champions League plays rather than a relegation spot. I mean, the fact that I think it was one of the games at the weekend. It was important for the relegation battle. I think it must have been West Brom. Yeah, West Brom Fulham. And I was just thinking, I don't really care about that game, and the fact that I don't care about a relegation battle shows how far we've come. So in that respect, absolutely buzzing, loving watching West Ham right now, but obviously we can't go to games, which has been crushing. Haven't seen a drunken Gio for many a month now, and it's just it's a strange feeling. But if you're judging it just on the football pitch, then yeah, it's going well.
Good man, X. Thank you for joining us. I massively appreciate it. Take care, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, anytime, mate. Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
See you
Thank
later.
you.
Cheers. Bye.
Charlie.
I like the way he said not seen a drunken Geo as if that's a bad thing. As if that's a bad thing. X, you can tell X doesn't have to go, spend the entire day with you. Just a brief section.
Leave out. All right. What are you bringing this up for?
He brought it up, not me.
I was having a good time until all that.
Well, I don't think that's true. We've had a bad day, so I don't know if that's true. But
anyway, giveaway coming up soon. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's 900 of you watching. Thank you for tuning in. We massively appreciate it. Like the video as well. Can we get 900 likes? Probably not, but it'd be nice if you could all be generous and click the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to be giving away a next level mug very, very soon. We'll give away one of them soon to someone. We'll get an alarm on, and then we'll give it to someone that's in the live chat commenting. Keep your comments coming. We'll keep getting them up on the screen. Charlie, how you feeling? Deadline day, it's dead.
It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it? It's one of those days where you like to sit on the edge of your seat and hope for the best. And I'm not a particularly Christian man, but get down on your knees and maybe pray a little bit. But unfortunately, the owners haven't gone to the banks and get anything out because it's been a bit just. I just think it's something I brought up in the Lingard video. And it's something I think people agreed with me, but just disagreed with how negative it was the rest of the time in that video. But I think this was an opportunity for us to look long-term for once. I think very seldom have we had the opportunity after the last couple of years to really invest in something long-term. As much as it's difficult to get players in January, I always think it's quite good because they get essentially 6 months to try and fit into the squad before, and you can always say next season, then they have to perform sort of thing. With the position we're in, we're not in any danger of anything bad happening to us this year. I thought it was actually a really good opportunity, even if it is only some younger player that you haven't, that like, I don't know, Dio or Wang Hee-chan, whoever it was, right, who's of the younger variety, not someone like King who has to come in and perform now, someone who can grow into the team, and then next season we have someone who's fit and we don't need Antonio to be fit all the time and everything else. I thought it was a really good opportunity, and it's just a bit disappointing to see us not only not do that, but to do literally nothing whatsoever. I mean, it's just, it's a bit dead.
Yeah, it's not so fun. We've had some good fun on these streams over the years, haven't we? I was trying to search for an old thumbnail of a Deadline Day thing because remember, young Tom photoshopped it me on Jim White, so with the yellow tie thing, right? Yes. So I was trying to find that thumbnail. So I went on Twitter and did from Hammers_chat, and I put in Deadline or something. Do you know what come up? The photo of Tom Down in his mum's dress.
Oh God.
Back in 2016, Tom Down come on here. There was a stipulation. I can't remember what it was. We needed to get so much likes or something like that, and Tom would go get his mum's dress on, and we'd done it, and he'd come back on with the most sparkly golden dress I've ever seen in my life. You just sat there like with their heart. It's an amazing photo. I absolutely loved it. I'll send it to you, Charlie, and then you can maybe get up on the screen because I don't know how you do that stuff, but you do. Let me send you a picture.
Everyone get excited for, oh my giddy gosh.
Oh, it's beautiful. Are you ready? Are you ready to see Tom Down in his mum's dress? This happened in Deadline Day, the summer of 2016. This was Tom Down. Here he is. Look at him. What a man.
Look at that. That is a specimen. He's an absolute specimen.
Beautiful. We had a good laugh. We've had some good days on the old transfer deadline show here at Hammers Chat. That was one of the early memories. We had Tony Henry's African Mayhem. We signed Jordan Hugo, Diafisako, arranging his own medical in France. We've had some good times in this.
That's the one that sticks out to me is the African Mayhem because it was right near the end of deadline day, and it was you, Gonzo, and I think Mike were on at the time, and it was a case of everyone was just like, it was dying down, and then all of a sudden someone in the chat went, you need to check the Daily Mail or whoever it was who put it out now. And I clicked on it. I was like, oh my God. Because we'd done like nothing. Wasn't that was the Evra window, wasn't it? We went and signed Evra just after it or something like that, I think. Because literally nothing had happened. I think all we'd signed is Hugo and that was it. But nothing else.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But a couple of days later, was it not Afolayan we signed from Dagenham? And now he's going in live today. Was it not Afolayan that we brought in?
That might be true, actually. That might be true.
Everybody was like, well, now we know why we've signed him. It's because of the Tony Henry thing.
That was I mean, unfortunately, if we don't have a director of football or chief scout or whatever anymore, so we can't have one of those sort of controversies. If someone at the club wants to do one, it'd be great for us. But yeah, no.
Anyway, after Leon did leave, he's gone to Bolton on loan. Did that surprise you or was it expected to you?
Surprised me. West Ham trimming their squad that's already doesn't need trimmed. Never shocked by that. I said this in the Discord earlier, but I wouldn't have mind or be bothered by this at all, because I actually think our youth players do need to get out and play as much competitive first team football as possible in the seniors. I think if you're not doing that, you're sort of wasting time, basically, I think, until you get to that stage. But the fact we don't have a second senior striker is the only problem with this. If we had a second senior striker, fine, go wild, go to Bolton, hope you kill it, get some goals, come back, and then in pre-season push for first team position. I'd be all about it. But without that, it just seems reckless. It seems reckless. It's all of our hopes now. I mean, as you've said, it's Yarmolenko, it's Lingard. But if we're talking about actual strikers, all our hopes now are on Odebeku actually hitting the ground running, and that's a lot of pressure for a young kid to get under when Afline again is sort of at that stage where it's make or break a little bit for him. I think it's a good move for him personally. I think hopefully it works out for him. He's getting to the age where he needs to have it happen now. Obviously, he's not going to have a Premier League career with West Ham United, but it just seems I don't see the upside for us really when we're in such a precarious position up front.
Yeah, I don't mind him going out, to be honest with you. He's not going to get a game here. He's just not going to get a game. Even if Antonio was out and Yarmolenko was out, we'd play Lingard. If Lingard was out as well, we'd play Jared Bowen. There's about 6 different players ahead of him to start. And even if all them were out, I still think we'd do something else. Ben Rama up front or something. We would never play him. He's 23 years old. I don't mind letting him go out. It's probably disappointing for him. He got his chance in the cup, took it, got his goal. He's probably buzzing. And then he finds himself out of the squad altogether in the next game. And Mipo's in ahead of him as well. So I think he's probably a little bit disappointed and frustrated. But hopefully he goes on to do something good with Bolton. I don't think we'll see him at West Ham United again. I think while it's a loan move, I don't think we'll see him back. It's a bit like Cardoso. We're not going to see him back at West Ham United. But someone else I hope will come back to West Ham is Alisi. He's gone to Cambridge on loan for the rest of the season. I'm not going to lie, I expected him to go to a higher standard of football. It's League 2. He was at League 1 last season. He's dropped down to League 2 this season. I don't know. I thought he'd have done better than League 2.
I don't know. I always think that about with our young players, though. When you see other clubs around us loaning players out to not even championship clubs, but sometimes top European teams, and then in the background, we see, like you say, Alisi going down to League 2 and places like that. I always think I don't know why. I don't know if there's a structural problem at the club trying to get these kids out to higher levels of game. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, to put it into context, this is a kid we were sort of all hoping might get some first team games this year, and now he's gone to League 2. I mean, again, it's an opportunity. I just hope the idea is if he's going that low, then he's definitely going to play every single game or something like that. I don't know. You know the lower leagues better than I do. I don't know how they're doing in the league at the moment, Cambridge, but I hope to God that that's a situation where he will get as much game time as possible, because if he doesn't, then I mean, to be fair, I was going to say the standard might not be great, but then again, their training ground's probably just as good as ours, to be fair.
Right, Charlie, can you put a timer on your phone, please? Anything between 10 and 15 minutes. Anything. Don't tell us. Anything between 10 and 15 minutes. When Charlie's phone beeps between 10 and 15 minutes, only Charlie knows when it's going to beep. When it beeps, the last person that leaves a comment in the live chat will win the Hammers Chat mug. Nice little freebie, a nice little giveaway. So in 10 to 15 minutes, between 3 minutes past and 8 minutes past, we will be giving away a mug when Charlie's phone beeps at us. Winston Reid left. Off to Brentford on loan?
Yeah, that did shock me.
Did it?
A little bit. Not him going out. I suspected him to go, but it shocked me him going to Brentford. It just seems out of character for them to go for a player of Reed's age on loan. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I think he has a lot to offer, even if you're not looking at him as a first team start, and I don't think in the Premier League you should be. I think he does have like a lot to offer a club. You're looking at a guy who's a model professional. Even when he could have, like, remember when he was getting linked to Arsenal and all that stuff, he could have kicked off a massive fuss, and he didn't. He signed a new contract. He stayed with the club, and he's never, despite everything, been someone who I think is looked at negatively in that sense. I think he has a lot to offer that sense. And actually, maybe if you're a club like Brentford, you look at it and say, here's an experienced head, someone who's been a captain in the Premier League who can teach professionalism to the team. Maybe that's the reason they've gone for it. But I was a bit shocked that he went there of all places, even though I did fully expect him to leave.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him. If he retains 80% of his ability, I think he'll be a fantastic signing for Brentford. Assuming you never see my video earlier, he signed his new contract in 2017, 6-year deal. Do you know how many games he's played since signing that contract?
Wait, when you say 2017? Can't be.
So about 4 years.
I'd be shocked if it was over 30.
15. 15 games he's played since signing out a 6-year contract in 2017. It's just such a shame. I don't blame the club for giving him a 6-year contract. I really don't. I think it was, at the time, I thought it was the right thing to do. Like you said, he's been linked to Spurs and Arsenal. And not only was he being linked, I think he was good enough to go and play for Spurs and Arsenal. And that's been taught that Arsenal, were a lot better than they are now as well. So I was delighted when he sort of signed up. It's just horrible. It's just horrible. I think he's done superb in terms of mentality and that, to come back from those injuries and give himself a chance of playing Championship football even. I think it's credit to him. I think he's gone down in our history and a bit of a cult hero and stuff. I think we both have a bit of a soft spot for Winston Reid. I think. Yeah, I'll always have a soft spot for Winston.
I mean,
Reid.
if you're looking at it realistically, like during our time watching the club, name better centre backs that have played.
Him and O'Connor are the two for me. James Collins to some extent, but I think Reid and O'Connor are better footballers than James Collins. But them three are the three miles ahead of the rest in my time of watching thing. But like, Reid's still up there for the best individual performance I've seen from a West Ham player. That was away to Man City. I thought he was just ridiculous. Bournemouth have apparently verbally agreed a deal with Everton and Fulham for Joshua King, while Josh Maja is on the verge of being announced for Fulham as well. Alan says, Chris Scobusi hit the nail on the head. GSB had a real opportunity to make this an exceptional season by getting in a decent striker to try and push us to an even better position. Very strange. Now, we're going to get some of you in joining us on the show very, very soon as well. We're live for the next couple of hours. So if you want to get involved, direct message Chat Hammers at Chat Hammers on Twitter. Get in touch with us on there. We'll give you the link and we'll get you into the chat and we can have a little discussion.
We actually have someone who messaged us earlier asking if it was possible to come on tonight. Should I send them the link now?
Yeah, please. There was 3 or 4 people that said it. I know James was one. Give them the link and we'll get them lined up. We'll only do a couple of times at the same time. And Jazza, was Solskjaer or Antonio a better deadline day signing? Oh, that's tough.
Okay. Well, it has to be Antonio at this point, right? I think realistically, you're talking about, like, the thing is, Souček, I think, could go for more money, and from a business standpoint, I think you could make the argument Souček was better. You know, you'd probably get more profit from him. I think he's the right age where even if you don't sell him, he could be at the club for a long time. I think right now, I don't know how you feel about this, Gio, but I think right now he's literally our most important player in the starting 11 is Thomas Souček. But I mean, as like Antonio's been here for such a long time, he's got so many goals. He's probably going to become our top goal scorer in the Premier League of all time. I don't know if you can make an argument against that, really, that's strong enough to beat it, if as much as I do like Souček.
The wording of the question is tricky because I think it would be Souček, but more important, or if you want, I would say it is Antonio. I think without his goals, we would have got relegated last season. We wouldn't have Souček this season if we got relegated. So I would say Antonio for now, but I think long term, I think you're right. I think it would then become Thomas Souček as well. But I think Antonio would be my pick there. Tough question. In the live chat, get it in, Antonio or Souček. Get it in the live chat. Let's see what you think. Don't just put in the name, put in a reasoning as well. Give us a sentence as to why you're picking which player you're putting in. Samuel says, how much do you think Liverpool would have to offer for Diop for us to let him go?
At this point, I think if you were to give us our money back, I think we would be tempted. I think anything over that, I think if you're talking 25 plus, then I think it's probably a definite accepting. But I think if you matched what we paid for him, I think we would be tempted. Would I? No, but I think West Ham United at this point probably would.
Yeah, if JB says if Antonio gets injured next week, Yarmolenko doesn't work out, who's a free agent?
Daniel Sturridge.
Diego Costa, Pella.
I think Costa's beyond us. As much as I'd love him, I would love Diego Costa might be past it, but I'm all about having a big dickhead up front. I'm fine with that. But
in all honesty, I'd rather see Odebeko than Diego Costa.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I would, because Costa, I haven't seen him in Spain, but the people I watch him in Spain say he's nothing like the striker that left the Premier League nowadays. Plus, the guy's he's a nutter. He's a disruptive influence as well. The one good thing about this team at the minute is the feel-good harmony, the togetherness of the squad, and just he's like throwing a grenade into it. Why would you? I don't think it's worth the risk. And part of the reason we do well during the games is our in-game discipline and organisation. That guy ain't got either. He's just off the head. He's off his head. I love him. I used to love watching him at Chelsea. But only because I was watching him for entertainment. And I think he's one of the most underrated players to play in the Premier League. He doesn't get spoken about in the same way as other strikers. Luis Suarez is talked about as one of the best strikers in the league. I think he was, but I do think Diego Costa was as well. But I think he's finished now. I think Diego Costa's finished. That's why he's been without a club for a few months. He wasn't released yesterday. He was released ages ago, and still no one wants him. So I would rather see Meepo play than Diego Costa.
And I can't sit here and preach long-term thinking and then say Diego Costa over Meepo. Let's be real about it.
Yeah, let Odebeko have a go if you want. Dan says, can you see us getting Pickford in the summer? He's played under Moyes before, and he thinks Everton will be looking to sell him. Well, I hope not.
I like Pickford still, but no, not for me. I think he'd cost too much money to make it worth it. I think Pickford's all right, and I think I think if he was able to refine his form before it dropped after the England duty stuff, then yeah, of course you'd want Jordan Pickford, but I don't really see that happening for me.
Yeah, no, not for me. I wouldn't want to see Pickford here. Even if he was 10 million, I still wouldn't want him. Yeah. It's just risky. You'd have to... It's like,
it's almost... I think he's a higher level than this, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a similar situation to Jack Butland, where I look at it and I think, look, if he could regain that form, then sure, of course I'd like Jack Butland from back in the day. But Jack Butland now, no.
Where's that one? Daniel says, KFC fellas ever bid for Danny Ings. Please do not quote Indy Callie on here. He's let's just not do that. But I like the way Daniel called him KFC fella, so that's all right. Eamon says that it's amazing that we're in desperate need of a striker, and it looks like we aren't going to get one. It's like we're being punished for success this season. Poole says, with the team safe, why not give our young strikers playtime? Because I think there's still something to go and achieve. If we were sitting 12th, I'd agree with you, but we're not. We're 5th. I think we've got to try and capitalise on everything here, Charlie.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only times that I think he should be given game time is as and when you can, when there's space. I wouldn't put him up front to begin with. But to be fair, I don't know if I trust any of the other options we could play. Let's say Jared Bowen, for example. I don't know if I trust Bowen up front any less than I trust one of our youth players. I'd probably prefer one of them to get the chance over, say, Jared Bowen. I think the only person in our squad I'd put ahead of him, apart from Mikel Antonio, is maybe Yarmolenko, and that's just because he has done it at international level. But outside of that, I mean, I'm all for giving them the opportunities and just thinking that, I don't know, I'm just bored of not having youth players come through. I want to see as many as come through as possible.
Is Welbeck not at Brighton?
I thought Welbeck was at Brighton. I could tell you what, I can have a little Google if you want.
Yeah, we know that's necessary. He's hardly like anyone decent, is he? He's not that someone, even if he was free, I still wouldn't want him. Lee says that we've been punished for success. Sullivan doesn't want to pay for us in the Europa League, which costs money but brings little in. I tell you something, you do look at things like that on TalkSport when he's complaining about it costing 50 grand. You do just think, what are you speaking about? Yeah. Why would you even say such a thing? It's obviously going to come back on you. Alan says, playing devil's advocate here, we've got this far with Antonio and Ali. Could Antonio and Yarmolenko not see us through to the end of the season?
I would just like to say I trust Alan implicitly, and what Alan says goes, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it could, but it's not that it's not going to work. It's not that we don't have players to play up front. We've got that. I think what the majority of people are disappointed at is the lack of ambition, the lack of trying to get someone in. I mean, Yarmolenko's just not going to work up front. He's just not going to work. He's far too he's more like Sebastian Haller than Michail Antonio. Give him 2 games up front. It's not going to work. David Moyes is going to come out and complain that we don't have a striker like Michail Antonio. The fans are going to get upset because we don't have a striker like Michail Antonio. And you're just going to be sitting here thinking, well, no shit, Sherlock. I mean, we all knew that. David Moyes knew it. He's done nothing about it. It's just frustrating, really. Anyway, let's bring in our next guest. He's been on the show the last couple of days demanding a striker. James, how you doing?
Oh, mate, gutted. How you doing, mate? You all right? How you doing, lads? It's poor, mate. It's poor, and I've the ownership has to take responsibility, right, for the backlash that they're getting there. Like, it's not acceptable. Like, we are in the best position, as I keep saying, and I've said it multiple times, like before, that we're ever likely to be. Next season, the top 6 will sort it out. They will buy strong, and we won't even be anywhere near them.
Charlie?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the big frustration is we can take 1 step forward, but everyone else around us feels like they're taking 2 or 3 steps. And as long as you're still not taking as many steps forward as the rest of the people around you, you're falling behind. It doesn't really make a difference at that point. I think taking big strides forward this season, you look at everything that's gone on, you look at the formation, you look at the tactics, the personnel we've got in. I think that's a great base to be building off of. But if you're not building off of it, then what does it make a difference? You should be looking at the people around us and thinking, well, if everyone else is doing it, especially in the context of, say, Everton and Fulham and these people who are literally buying the player we've been chasing for 2 windows now. I don't know how much more forward. Like, could we start moving forward at some point, or are we just going to stay here sort of indefinitely?
We can. The way I look at it is, I don't know about anyone else, but where we are, we're 5th in the league. We can easily drop like a stone. Like, it ain't like we're like multiple points clear of everyone. We're only like 2-3 points ahead of a lot of teams. And at the end of the day, when you're relying on Yarmolenko, who's just a winger, and Antonio is a winger, he's not a striker. Even though we all love him, he's not a striker. And and then people were saying about bringing the youngster, the 19-year-old in. You're putting a lot of pressure on a youngster to come on the pitch and score us goals, right? When we've just sold a striker for £20 million, and we can't even afford to go and pay £5 million for Josh King or get a free transfer from somewhere. Do you know what I mean? If we went out and got Olivier Giroud, for instance, right? I know it's not like the marquee signing, but he's been in the league. He's not playing at Chelsea. Go and get him. It's a backup. There's not a problem there. Do you know what I mean? Like, if he plays, he plays. If he don't, he don't. But to get no one is wrong. It's just wrong on so many levels. Like, why have we left Upton Park? Like, if that is the case, like, and I hear people saying about they can't slate the ball. Well, the reason why the ball gets slated because they've told us multiple times that we are going to go places. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You have got the perfect opportunity now to do that. Like, this is the moment. I wonder if Leicester owners back in 2016 thought like our owners. Oh no, we can't win the league. You know what I mean? They just, you know what I mean? It's just not acceptable. I heard Gio was saying earlier, 26 strikers we've been linked with, and we've not got one. It's just terrible.
I think I missed a couple. Someone put in the live chat, Ivan Toney. I didn't have him on my list. So it's back up to 27. There's probably a couple more as well. That's all there is to it. We're 3 points. We're 3 points ahead of Aston Villa, James, who are 9th, and we obviously play them next. So should Villa win, we're equal points with them. They're currently 9th. It's very, very close to league. And I think this is what everybody's sort of frustrated with at the moment. Everybody's a bit frustrated, just like you said, for the lack of ambition. Does this suggest what their ambition is, James, which is to stay in the Premier League?
Yeah. Yeah, it's to stay in the Premier League, mate. Like, if no one can grasp it now that this is the best opportunity we're ever going to get. When are we ever going to get in the top 6? When the powerhouses like Arsenal, Chelsea, you've got to put Tottenham up there because they've been there. Liverpool, Man City, and Man United. That's the top 6. Like, And as I've said before, and I've said it on a few other like different channels, right? Wolves have been there. Wolves have been in the Europa League. They've been in the league 4 years. Like, do you know what I mean? In 4 years, they've come up, stayed in the league, and got in the Europa League. It's just not acceptable. Like as fans and us leaving Upton Park, it's just not acceptable. I'm like, and if you can't afford to go out and pay £5 million out for Josh King, right? Which I know people are a bit split on it, but he's a striker. Like, we need a striker. Like, we're not asking to go and buy someone that we've never heard of. He's been in the Premier League. He's played. He's scored goals in the Premier League. Just pay the money. They just won't.
Gus says, just for two sides of the coin, Gus says that fans are sure quick to forget they're in a pandemic. There's basically no income, and we still expect big signings. Steve Helson, thank you for the £2 in full-time fund. Steve says, if you were a striker, would you join West Ham?
Well, the way I look at it is we're fifth in the league. It's the best. We are vibing at the minute. The club is bouncing. Forget the Liverpool game for a second. Apart from that, we've been on a great run of form, right? We've just lost to the champions of the Premier League. Like, let's not forget, they are the champions of the Premier League. They've got a good squad. Now, if we go and beat Fulham Wednesday night, and as I said the other day, if we go and beat Fulham Wednesday night, we go Saturday to Fulham and we roll them over, or we beat them by a score. It's all forgotten about Liverpool, right? And there's no panic. But if we start dropping like a stone, which could happen, and we all know it as West Ham fans, right? We all know one defeat could turn into 4 in a row, and then we're sliding down the table. Then the worry is there. And if you've got Yarmolenko as your backup striker, it just says it all.
Charlie, we can't hear you. You're on mute. Unmute yourself, boy.
I don't know if you heard that, but the alarm did go off, and it was whoever I've just pulled up on the screen. Candyman was the person who was the last comment on the screen.
Candyman, you've won the mug. You have won the next level mug. Can you please email us, hammerschat@gmail.com. Get in touch with us, mate. We'll get this sent out to you very, very soon. It'll be with you before West Ham sign a striker. James, have we realistically got a big enough squad to challenge in Europe? Should we qualify?
But then if we do qualify for Europe, that's when the next level comes into it, and you have to give Moyes the money. Like, if we, it says it all with the owners, lads, right? When basically David Moyes hasn't been offered a contract yet, right, to stay at the club. Now, the reason why he won't be offered a contract, because they are thinking he's going to drop like a stone and he could end up in mid-table. And that's the reason. But if we do get into Europe, why can't we dream a bit? Like, why can't we like look forward to going away to these different countries and all that? Like, we're supposed to be West Ham United Football Club. Like, we're acting like we're a small club all of a sudden. Do you know what I mean?
What do you think it would take to actually get them to spend money? At what point? Because the thing is, I think we're all of the mindset of, if we're in a relegation battle, then boy are they going to start spending. But if we're looking at it in a positive sense, if we're looking at it as West Ham United moving forward, what would it actually take to get them to put their hands in their pockets, do you reckon?
I don't think it will, mate, if I'm honest. I think, if I'm being truthfully honest, hand on heart, I think they are just happy to be in the league. They will not match the money that the top 6 will match. That's why we will never get in the Champions League. Like, let's be honest, we're miles away from the top 4. Like, and in this league at present, well, we are 5th in the league. If they would have went out today and gone and got a striker and a midfielder, or a striker and a left back, and showed the club a bit of ambition, then you could look at it and go, you know what, we've got a chance, right? We've signed Jesse Lingard on loan, who's played 3 games all season in league and FA Cup games, like League Cup games and FA Cup games. How can that be acceptable? And then you sell Haller. Like, everyone's slated Haller, but now, right, we've got no striker. So we're relying on Antonio. And Antonio is injury prone, as we all know. So if he drops down, you're relying on Yarmolenko, who we all know doesn't do a good job up there. So it's like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and we're all sitting there and we're all going, well, like, where is the ambition? Do you know what I mean? They claim to be fans of the club. Right? We are all fans, right? Gio, yourself, everyone's been up and down the country many times in supporting West Ham United. They spent a lot of money. When are the owners going to start overspending for the fans? That's the way I look at it.
Anyway, James, listen, thank you very much for calling in. Massively appreciated. Don't be a stranger. And fingers crossed you get your striker in the summer.
Hope so, mate.
Take care. Good man. Thank you. Charlie, everyone's saying Gus has got a nice picture. What did he have? I didn't notice it.
Gus.
Everybody's saying Gus had a nice profile picture.
Gus, this is Gus.
It's a butt.
It's a butt.
It's a butt.
It's a butt.
It's a derriere with the West Ham badge on it.
Oh, very...
Mate, I've gone French. I'm learning for the summer transfer window all these striker targets. I'm getting ready.
We had a conversation last night about you watching Ligue 1 football, and all of a sudden you're busting out words like derriere.
Yeah, because when I watched Boulaye Diaz highlights, I thought arse.
Is that what you thought? Okay, I thought you were just going to say that you turned cultured. It's all this talk.
Yeah. Anyway, keep getting your comments in the live chat. You wish to join us on the screen. The information is on your screen at the minute. Get in touch with us on Twitter. We prefer it being on Twitter so we can almost check that you are real. You're not coming on here to troll us. We don't want none of that. Charlie does enough with his Antonio opinions. We don't need anyone else joining in. I thought you were going to be like, oh, Charlie deals with it enough on the watch along, and yet here you are talking about flipping me being a troll. Gus's picture's cheeky.
Smooth, good,
Yeah,
solid work.
It was quite smooth as well, I think, actually. Terence says the board have got no ambition, doesn't bode well for keeping the likes of Rice at the club and make a push for Europe, but we're sure we want to progress. Stephen Lissette, confident for Villa, Charlie? I'm not going to say mine. I'll keep mine for the preview, but are you confident?
No. No, I think we're going to give it a good go at it, but Villa... I was more concerned about how we perform against Villa than I was against Liverpool before Liverpool. And now, obviously, we've taken a big old gut punch in that sense. I think we'll still make a good go of it. And actually, I don't know if this is just me being too optimistic, but maybe losing against Liverpool might actually help us, might serve as a sort of like wake up call kind of thing. Not that we needed one, but sometimes you need a bit of water splashed in your face just to go, can you zone in and focus in a little bit? And I think maybe potentially we'll see a situation where we go up against Aston Villa and we wouldn't act like we've definitely got it. We wouldn't act like we've definitely won it. We're going to have to put the effort in. And I think most of those players have shown enough, if I'm going to go very Brendan Rodgers, shown enough character throughout the rest of the season to where they're going to want to step up and redouble down their efforts.
Sam says Moyes given no confidence to stay here. They've already sacked him once and now he's overachieving. He's not getting the backing he deserves and he is a poor sod. Morley says, how can we tell who's Moyes' targets and who's Sullivan? Probably check the agent, mate.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the easiest way to do it, isn't it? Transfer mark, agency. Okay, yeah, okay, we know who that one is.
Graham, are the game reviews by Becky and Peach now on Patreon? No, they're not, Graham. Becky's been unwell, I think, Charlie. You'll know more than me.
Yeah, she's just unwell at the moment, so she can't do it. I don't know how much she wishes me to say, so I'll just say she's been unwell.
She was put on Twitter.
Oh, has she? Okay.
She's going to lie down.
She's I don't know. I didn't see her tweet, so I can't say.
She's been unwell.
She's been unwell. And Peach is just an elusive man, Sometimes you get videos from Peach, sometimes you don't. They all bang, though. They all bang. If you haven't watched Peach before, please go do it. Megan
asking, does any other ladies in here? Yeah, Gus's profile picture. I think that was a lady's one. It could have been a man's one, to be fair. We didn't... Right,
if it is, I'm jealous. If it is,
right. Terence, let me nip this in the bud, my friend. Terence, won't reply to you. Ask Gonzo for West Ham Magazine. Email the details and got it. Terence, I've seen it. Gonzo replied to you not long ago. I literally seen the email back. You haven't replied to him. He will send you a bloody magazine. Please stop spamming the chat with it. We will send you a magazine. Stop in the live chat. Brilliant. Jay says that he's a Man U fan. Came across his site. He thinks West Ham are doing well, but if we get Rice, you will lose your mojo. You're not getting him, so. Oh, we haven't done this yet. We'll wait till Gonzo's back. We've got a sign in. We do have a sign in. Charlie's a bit confused.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what it is. You know the sign in. We'll wait for Gonzo. We need Gonzo here for the sign in stuff. We'll take Jack Sullivan or another child to spend money.
I think Jack's past.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. Have you seen the West Ham women are doing what the West Ham men are doing at the minute? There's just players leaving everywhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, women's football is a lot more open door
Mate.
rotation than the men's game is, to be fair.
The women's photographer don't know what to do now that Alicia Lehman's left.
He's having a mare, isn't he?
That photographer's like, who do I take a picture of? Like, I literally, what do we do with the social media stuff? What do we?
He was signed for one purpose, and now that purpose is gone, he doesn't know what to do with himself. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He's
Abbott
probably
might get a gig now.
Oh, he's a good photographer, is Abbott, and a solid man. I reckon you should give it to him. Give it Abbott to end the season. See what happens.
Terry, for a little bit of context, before we Terry's question is thoughts on Josh King going to Everton. Can't believe West Ham haven't gone in for him, but Fulham have. And for context, Terry is an Everton fan, I believe. So
I think. Look, I've spoken about this enough on as many different places. 2 spanners, 1 hammer for the Patreon podcast, for example. Now's the best time to get involved in Patreon if you want. Patreon.com/hamsterchat. Beginning of the month, get involved with Big Raymond. I'm not a huge fan of Josh King in any way. I think he's fine. I think he's a fine Premier League footballer, but I'm not a huge fan of him. The point is if Moyes wants him, then you go and get him. And especially now, like before, when it would have cost us more money, and in a board are like, well, you might be able to get someone better for the same amount or less, then sure, I understand that. But at this point where he's being flogged around for £5 million and he's the manager's supposed number one target, I don't get what they're doing. I can't understand for the life of me, unless the other option is, of course, they have gone in and Josh King's gone, no, you didn't want me before. Why would I go to you now? I don't know. I
like the fact that we've not moved for Josh King. Listen, as much as I would have liked a striker, that guy's wage demands are atrocious. He's wanting about 100 odd grand a week and something. He's not coming on a 6-month contract. He's not coming on an 18-month. He'll be if he goes to Everton, I bet you he's signing at least a 2.5-year deal, and it'll be big bucks he's going to get out of that club. Josh King would have been fine for the next 6 months. Beyond that, I would have been looking to improve on Josh King. It didn't make good business sense getting Josh King in a little bit. I think. Yeah, okay, it doesn't make sense. If David Moyes really wanted him, we didn't go get him. But I think he's an average Premier League player. I watched Bournemouth the other night. He didn't even stand out in that game. It was a championship game. I can't even remember who they played. Reading. They played Reading. He didn't even look good. I'm glad they're not getting Josh King.
True. Do we know what his wage demands are now? We know what they were a couple of weeks ago. We know what they were in the summer, but do we know what they are now?
Oh, I'll be surprised if they're not the same. He's capitalising on desperation in the Premier League. Fulham are desperate. Everton, for some reason, are getting a little bit desperate. He was probably hoping West Ham were desperate too, and they would just chuck money at him because the fee's quite small.
That's fair. I just would have assumed from his position that he's getting desperate as well, and so he might have dropped at some point. Maybe that's why
he's doing his lippy. He's doing his lippy. We've caught him.
Maybe that's why he's not back in, because maybe he's not as desperate as I'm assuming. Love that. Big. It's the small one. I respect it.
It's huge. Look how big it is.
Listen, this ain't no Father Ted.
That's it.
Small, far away. I understand. I know object permanence. I get that.
Massive thank you to James. He popped £10 in the full-time fund. Says, thanks for having me on. # don't go to bed. I will go to bed. There's not much going to be happening. Connor says kissy Gonzo. Terry says he agrees with myself. Thank you Terry. There's not many of you, but I appreciate it. Anyway, Gonzo, someone was asking earlier what the deal is with our transfer signing.
Our transfer signing, Hammers Chats.
Yeah, so do you want to point to above your left shoulder while I click this button? That's the one. There you go. There you are. Hey, there we go.
Oh, look, my finger disappears. Look. Wait. My head, it feels a bit weird. Let me just crouch down a minute. Actually, I've got a thing on my chair. Hold on. Look at that. Magic. It's not, well, I say magic chair, just an office chair, really. We are delighted, absolutely buzzing, to announce that we have a sponsor for the Forum channel. Now, this is a company. It's called ATC Sports Services, as you can see. Let's just get the first most important thing. We're being sponsored by a West Ham fan, a season ticket holder. And this is somebody that has supported us for 3 years now. And this is different, though. I mean, he's sponsored. He's helped out with the app before we were building the app. He's helped us out on individual videos. This is a sponsorship for the full year on the Forum channel. It's massively important to us all. I can't thank him enough. Obviously, I'm not just telling the news now. I thanked him personally, and we're going to be promoting him all season. He's going to be helping us. It's ETC Sports Services. He does 3G pitches, tennis courts, all of that sort of thing. You know that rubbery stuff that you get when like in the playground, when you take your kids to the playground, if they fell off the swings, they go boing and they bounce back up rather than
like a mat.
Like a mat. So yeah, basically, he does sports surfaces. So we're absolutely delighted. As I say, he's a West Ham fan. Thank you very much indeed, mate. We can't thank you enough.
And we'll leave it there for the rest of the show. But it's the Forum channel he's sponsoring. So massive thank you. If anyone's watching thinking, I wouldn't mind sponsoring the main channel, get in touch, hammerschat@gmail.com, and we'll have a little conversation. Richard's asking if I can show my evidence of King's wage demands. There you go, mate. There it is. Like 100k per week. Love King. I got that in the post earlier.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd share it. It's confidential, but I thought I'm feeling good today.
You got it faxed over, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It's an upgrade from David Sullivan's one, because David Sullivan's offers are usually done in crayon. So King has kindly used a Sharpie. So Vorm is obviously a bit better off than West Ham at this point in time. So happy days. Anyway, we've got a guest. Gonzo, are you ready for him?
I am very ready.
It's James from the Anvil.
James.
How you doing,
Hey.
my friend?
We know, James.
How are we doing? I'm back.
You are.
Yeah. Well,
So it sounds like Marko Natovic. Have you just been reading what Marko Natovic said a couple of years ago and decided to use that?
nah, I've just been trying to keep up to date with all this transfer stuff. Pretty much.
But you've got a pen there. You haven't had to use the pen, have you? Let's be fair, James.
Not really.
You've got no note. He's got no notes. Nothing.
Not really, no. I just think it's what's to be expected. We won't get anyone in. I mean, I'm 7 hours behind the UK, but I said when I wake up in the morning, I was hoping West Ham would actually do something. There'd actually be some activity, but there was nothing. And I just wake up, I see everyone's getting done deals, and I'm just thinking to myself, if anything's going to come through at the last minute, it's just so reactionary. It's just so typical board to do that. If we let 3 go out today and we got no one in, and so I don't know. I'm guessing kind of annoyed today.
Sorry, Gonzo, you're going to have to take this. I'm dealing with the request for the call-in.
Oh, really? Okay. 7. Where are you? 7
I'm in
hours
Canada.
behind. What?
I live in Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sorry, I didn't mention it.
No, sorry. It said James from the Anvil. What's the Anvil?
Oh, it's my YouTube channel on my website.
Ah,
I do.
go on and give it a plug. Give it a plug while you're there, James.
I'll stick it in the comments. Give me a tick.
No, you don't have to do it, man. Anyway, you don't have to do it now. Who would you have liked? You said other clubs are signing people. I've got to be honest with you. I've just been away for the last hour. Who would you have liked us to sign? What would you have liked us to have done?
Well, I would have
particularly on
liked
this window. Would you have liked King, for instance? I mean, he seems to be the one that's taken up a lot of the conversation.
Well, no, Josh King is not what we really. I mean, let me put it this way: Josh King isn't really what we need in terms of longevity. It's not what we need in the long run, but it's just like someone the board could probably get in what you'd say on the cheap. If you look at his statistics from this season, his age as well, being 28 years old, he's not the kind of player Moyes wants. Moyes wants to build, like I said last week, a younger side. I don't think King would fit into that, but at the very least, I would have liked us to have bought in a midfielder, a left back, and a striker. Midfield, because if Rice and Suchek get suspended or injured, what have we got? Noble. Striker, because Antonio has no competition up front. He can get away with being below par, knowing that his place is going to be pretty much guaranteed. And left back, in case Cresswell gets injured. But we needed those 3 kind of players. And it's taken, 28 days of the month until we actually got a deal through. Other teams are getting stuff done earlier. It's the fact that we let it drag and it's come down to this, and anything that we get within the last hour and a half is going to be reactionary.
So is this just David Moyes, or is it just David Sullivan, or is David Moyes playing a part in this?
Well, Sullivan's going to have the final say in everything because he seems to just get players through agents that he knows, especially that Salthouse geezer. But I think it's a combination of both. But I think Sullivan's the one doing the damage, and Moyes is the one that's got the actual sense in him. Moyes is right when he says, I don't want panic buying. I don't want just to get somebody in and we pay wages just to fill the gap, i.e. like what Jordan Hugill or Ashley Fletcher were, even further back from that. But I think if Moyes isn't going to sign a striker in January and we're not going to get anybody in, there's two things he needs to do. One, Odebeko's got to start more often.
Yep.
Or two, because Odebeko's got to start because he's a natural striker. Don't trust Yarmolenko up front on his own. And if this is the case that Moyes is saying, I'm going to hold out until the summer, he better stick to his word and actually get a few people in within the first week.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I think the proof of the pudding, if that is the case, then the proof of the pudding is the next window. If we get to the next window and we're not finding ourselves with this budget plus the next one, then I think we really do have problems. I totally agree about the Odebeko one. I want to see that. If what we're hearing is that we are confident that we can make it to the end of the season because Odebeko's that good, great. That's fine. Let's see him then. Let's see this confidence play out actually with actions on the football pitch. I totally agree with that. Gio?
I'll tell you what I'm worried about though is we're going with the squad as it is now. We are 1 or 2 injuries away from massively hindering the start. Antonio Souček, right? So that's the 3, right? But let's just say in theory, Antonio gets injured for 5 games. We struggle with those 5 games, and we end up finishing 9th in the table. Still a good season overall. I can almost see it right now in my imaginary crystal ball that I've got my Josh King wage demands on here as well. That come the summer, we're not going to be able to sign our main striker because you don't want to come to us because we don't play European football. I can see it a mile away now. No European football will impact who we're going after. If it is a Sevilla guy, bear in mind the part of the reason he doesn't want to come is because we don't play European football. Then we need to get European football in order to get the main guy, and we're not going to do that without sitting on our hands this summer and this window. Sorry, I just think we're taking a massive risk, not only for the rest of the season, but actually for our summer transfer targets as well. I think we're taking a risk. I think there's a domino effect.
Risk. Definitely a massive risk because if you compare, we got Villa up next. Villa's a team that I'm actually a bit jealous of. I've got a recording preview for the Villa game on my own channel, but I've already put down in my notes for that. The reason why I'm jealous of Villa is because they've got a recruitment system in place. They've looked what they've done last season. They've acted on it in a positive way, spent the money where it's needed to be. They've not panicked by they haven't scatterbrained it. Villa is a team that is going to look to get European football because they're dedicated to it. West Ham's going to get European football through not necessarily squad depth or spending. It's going to be good form, and we really don't want this luck, fate, and chance, which we've been reliant on in relegation battles. Let's not have it for Europe. This is a great chance for us to get into European places. Moyes is a manager that's been to Europe. He's taken Everton to Europe. He's done quite well with them. He could do well with this squad if it improved, if he was to take it into Europe. And yeah, you're both right. Like getting into Europe is what is going to attract the players to us because they'll want to play in that kind of league.
Anyway, listen, James, thank you for calling in. We're going to have to leave it there. We've got a couple of guests lined up backstage. Don't be a stranger. Keep calling in. We massively appreciate it. You're well liked in the live chat as well.
Cheers, James. Don't forget stick your details in the chat.
Yeah, I will stick it in. Thanks a lot, man.
Cheers. Take care. Mate. Right, you ready for the next one, Gonzo?
I can see the next one.
When was he on? Was he
yesterday?
Was it last night? Yeah. If it was last night or the Monday one. Anyway,
yeah, he's from the States.
Leo's back.
How you guys doing?
All right, mate.
That sounds wonderful.
How are you? You okay?
Yeah, just chilling with the family at home.
Happier than yesterday, or not?
I mean, it snowed here, so yeah, I can say that my feelings went up a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, nothing to do with West Ham. It just the snow is better than a defeat to Liverpool.
I mean, when you say it like that, I mean, we lost to the champions. And the ambition that we had of even getting something out of that was very impressive from.
Have you chilled a little bit?
Yeah, I have. I've looked at the matches that we have, the next 6 matches. They're going to be tough ones.
Yeah.
What are you called up to have a rant about? What are you thinking of the transfer window?
I mean, I guess like everyone in the chat, I feel like we're all just disappointed that nothing's happened. I woke up today and looked at my phone and I saw West Ham pop up and I saw that Cardoso went to Basel, and that's the only transfer business that came on my phone. But yeah, I was just a little bit disappointed. But I mean, what else can you do if it's not Moyes' man that he wants to get in? Then we probably shouldn't get anyone.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that sort of stance they're taking? It's him or nobody. Do you agree with that sort of thing?
Like the Moyes' personality test. Is that what you're?
Well, just the way he's going about it. He's saying, I either want that striker or I want nobody. I don't want to get someone that's maybe not the guy I want, but someone that'll do.
Yeah, I agree because I believe like that we shouldn't just get someone that can just rot on the bench and that we hurt also their chances of becoming a great footballer too. Um, and yeah, like it's just with the harmony that we have in the squad, I just feel like if he knows the squad, Moyes knows so much of the squad, and he just wants us to keep on getting points and winning. So I feel like if it's not the man that he wants, I don't think we should get anyone, even though that might hurt us as our emotions. But I feel like that's just the right thing we need to do.
Then I think it's maybe a mistake.
Yeah, actually, totally. But I mean, that's also why we have some youth players to step up, like under Slaven Bilic. Like, of course, we knew about Declan Rice and the prospect of him, but I feel like we could definitely get one of our youngsters to surprise us, especially Odebeko. We've much been talking about him. The hype is really growing up on him. So if we just see him play a little bit more than 5 minutes in the first team, we would be more happier, I guess.
Do you think we will score more than 5 minutes?
I believe so. As long as we just keep on going, like I feel like rotation is just so important for us. Even though, even with that, we have such a thin squad. Beginning in the summer, going into the Premier League, and even now, like we've hindered it massively. So I just feel like squad rotation is something that we need to do more of, and substitutes need to be more spot on from Moyes, which is, I've always been critical of that. But what can we do?
Gonzo?
I think, I mean, just people keep touching on it, and Leo's the same there. I got to say, from my point of view, I would support this stance if I were to believe that it was the manager's decision. I would have some faith with what the manager wants. But if what we're saying is we have enough and we're going to use the youth players and we've got some good ones here, if what he's saying is I'm saving me money, so I'm going to use Odebeko, I'm going to bring in Ashby when needed and things like that, I would say, okay, I'll take that for this season. If that's the manager's instruction, I would rather that than David Sullivan turn around and say, oh, come on, no, look, I've got this geezer in from South America for £5 million. He's going to be world class. I would rather what's happening now. But I don't want to see the youngsters play. I can't. I don't mind that at all. But I think, do you know what? We might be proved wrong. But I think there's a lot of people here that are worried that Yarmolenko might play up front and it might not work well. And I'm one of them because I suspect that. I'm prepared to be wrong. Antonio gets injured. Yarmolenko plays up front and he might do a half-decent job. He might do a very decent job. He might score a hat-trick or something like that. I'm happy to be proven wrong. And this manager has not only proven me wrong, but he's proven a lot of people wrong. He may well work out a system where he plays a false nine and does okay. We might mirror our first half of the season. We really might, but I suspect not. I suspect Yarmolenko won't be a good striker. So I will take a plucky defeat where we've played well a lot better if we've played the youngsters than I will take a plucky defeat if we've gone and started the game with Yarmolenko and Noble and things like that. I won't be quite so impressed then, basically.
Yeah, I can agree with what you're saying there. Just a little bit like what Chelsea did last season when they also had their transfer ban. They just stuck in a bunch of youngsters and who fight for the club, who love the club, and you'd rather have that than a bunch of like 30 million signings that don't really care, that just really just like living in London because of course that's the capital of England, and they just like just living there and like the fashion and stuff like that. So I feel like just getting more of the youngsters in that just fight for the club, and even the hard workers of Suchek and Kufal, who transformed the mentality of this club, I believe. Just I guess more of them, and more of I guess what Moyes has pictured of what we want to play as, then we just keep on going up in the table. But I mean, I feel like Moyes does have a couple tricks up his sleeve because I believe none of us believe that we would be so good in a 5-back when we were in, and the transition from then to a 5-back to a 4-back, which is really hard. But I just feel like Moyes surprisingly has more to deliver. I can't believe I'm saying that, and we're I think 5th or 6th, so it's just incredible.
Well, listen, Leo, thank you very much for coming on. Massively appreciate it. Don't be a stranger. Keep smiling. And we'll see you again soon.
We will
Thank you.
see you again. I'm sure we will. Cheers, mate.
Right. Well, Gonzo, getting there. Happy through the show now.
So I take it there obviously there was no. What happened when I did whatever I did? I just went and put the kids to bed. What was so he's gone to Everton? That's what's happening?
Maybe. Well, we had David Gold on. We had David Gold on for a little bit while you were away. He came on for a little chat, and then
chuck us a few freebies, did he?
No, he said you weren't getting anything because he doesn't like all the videos you've done about bored out kind of stuff. He says he's not a fan of you, so
That's me testicle pasta shapes out the window. Then
yeah, he don't want to speak to you, I believe.
No.
Hammer 1999 says, "Love the Patreon work. Keep it up. # full-time fun." Thank you, mate.
Thanks,
Thank you.
mate.
Massively appreciate that. Before we get our next guest, a bit of context. Sometimes you're watching us on Cup of Tea, and we come to the question bit at the end. I say to Gonzo, "I've got a question from Alan," and Gonzo goes,
Alan.
He's next. He's the next guest. He's coming on. We've got Booty. Let's get him in the stream. Alan, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, fellas. Yourself?
All right, Alan. Thank you.
Good.
Is Mrs. around? Is she?
She's long gone, mate. She's long gone. She's.
Well, I hope
she
you're
says,
out the room and not.
well, yeah, out the room.
Oh right. Oh, you've not.
She,
Okay,
she
so
says
West-
that you
he's
two are
done a
part of our
West Ham.
relationship now. You're on the TV too much, so.
He's done a West Ham and transferred her out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, deadline day, she's gone. So,
Well, that's someone's done some business, Alan. Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt. Go on.
Just want to get your thoughts on where the responsibility lies for us not bringing in a striker, because we're hearing a lot that David Moyes wants to get the right person in, which is great, but at the same time, we've made bids for 2 or 3 players at least and been linked with, how many you mentioned, 26 earlier. Seems to be mixed messages. I'm someone who backs our owners more than most, but as I say, I think they've put money down on players. Maybe they've been the wrong players, but Moyes seems to be sending mixed messages in terms of what he wants, whether he wants to go for someone or whether he wants to hold off until the summer.
Well, I think my own my own opinion is that, as with a lot of these things, it's probably a bit of both. I don't believe that just one person's responsible for this. I do. It's what I said at the start of the video. I think Moyes wanted Youssef En-Nesyri. I think we thought we probably could have get him. I thought that's probably why we sanctioned the Haller deal. And we had very much had a straight target in mind. It was the only one he was happy to confirm that we'd made a bid for. At that point, who's then to blame? Well, we couldn't sign him. Now, the point is, so the question is, could Sullivan have really signed him? So what do? We went in with a 27 million. They said no, 40. So the question is then, could Sullivan have got him if we'd have said to Sevilla, 40 million euros? And then we'd have said to the player said, I don't want to come. Oh, really? 150 grand a week? I'm pretty sure that Sullivan, if he'd have spent 40 million euros and offered the guy 150 grand a week, he'd be in now. But the question is, I mean, do we have that money? Do we want us to do that? Is that a sensible thing for us to do, bearing in mind what's happened with Haller and Felipe Anderson? I don't know. So I think there's a little bit of both, but I don't believe for a second that David Moyes is being done over by David Sullivan at the moment. I do think David Moyes has decided this. I think it's a bit of the old indecisive Dave, whatever you want. But maybe he's just been very decisive, which is actually, I don't want. I saw some of the others. They look crap. I'm sorry. This Dia looked crap. Maybe it's just a case of, actually, I don't want this guy. They couldn't sell him. Anyone could have bought Dia at 13 million quid. Anyone. And even Fulham were trying to knock him down from 30. Oh, you take 9. The fact that no big clubs are in for him, even the small clubs are trying to knock him down at first, from 13 million quid, probably suggests Moyes thought, no, actually, I don't fancy him. I'll wait until next season. So I think that it's easy to try and apportion blame to one person. I think it's a bit of both, really, Alan.
Yeah, just quickly, a massive thank you to Pete for the £5 in the
Cheers,
full-time.
Pete.
He says, how much that? Keeping our spirits high. Alan, over to you.
I don't know who's at fault either, to be honest with you, but I'm leaning towards it being Moyes, because there doesn't seem to be any consistency in terms of who we're going for. There doesn't seem to be. We've talked a lot about scouting network before and what we've got in place. I live in Southampton, as you know, and they seem to be very well set up in a sense that when they sell a player, they know who their replacement is every single time. They've got 2 or 3 players in every position, in every price range, where you said before that we should be able to sell any one of our players and have a replacement lined up. So if for whatever reason Declan Rice leaves for 80 million, we've got a player lined up that we can go, right, that is our replacement. Or if someone leaves for 10 million, we've got someone lined up right where we can go, okay, we've got 10 million. And these are players who we've already sounded out and no one will come to the club. We don't want people who are only coming for the money, because that's how you end up with a Haller and Anderson, that sort of thing. But I can't believe that we're not making inquiries all the time about who would be interested in coming, how much would this player cost, could we go in for them if someone came in.
The thing is, Alan, I disagree with you about Moyes. I'm not Moyes' biggest fan in transfer market, and I do think it's half and half. But when you say that, like, there's an inconsistency of our targets, I think the problem is some of those targets are not David Moyes' targets. You're looking at Sullivan's targets and David Moyes' targets thrown in the bowl, and that's why it looks like an inconsistent mess, because it is an inconsistent mess. I think if you were to take out the David Moyes only ones, we don't know who they are, but if you were to take them out, I think that you would find similarities between them as strikers and stuff. And I think Moyes, if Moyes is guilty of anything, it's having his shortlist is probably too small. David Moyes probably has 2 names. So one of them, please. You can't give me one of them. I don't want one. Thank you. I think that's what he's guilty of. He's stubborn. He picks out his man, looks at him, decides he wants that one guy in particular, and that's it. You know, that's probably why he went from Tarkowski in the summer at 38 million all the way down to Craig Dawson for 2 million, just like that. And I was like, well, I can't have that guy. I'll just have this cheap one then. You know, I don't want your 20 million French centre back. I don't want that. I'd rather have the cheaper one that I've chosen. And Craig Dawson isn't that dissimilar to Tarkowski in the way he plays with his blocks and his heading and so on and so forth. And I think if you were to look at who David Moyes wants to strikers, I think you would find similarities between them. The problem is, I don't think there's that many of them, and we don't know who they are.
So do you think to a degree that's Moyes managing expectations, or do you think that's Sullivan presenting him with potential signings and him saying, no, I don't want that one, I'd rather have no one, and standing his ground?
Yeah, I do think Moyes is to blame to some extent, because I think there needs to be compromise. We've seen this in the summer. It was a mess in the summer between the two of them. You know, this centre-back thing rumbled on and on and on, and then he almost got Saïd Benrahma forced upon him by David Sullivan. And they needed their heads clanging together, but they've not done that. We've come into the January transfer window with the same sort of disagreements almost as we had in the summer. They've not rectified it. Moyes is still coming up with his 2 or 3 names, and Sullivan's still chucking agent-based names into the pot, hoping Moyes will want one of them. So I do think Moyes has got some degree of some part to play in this. I do, but is his expectations too high? Possibly, but you know something, Alan? I'm bloody glad if they are. I am actually glad David Moyes says, I want this top striker. I don't want Diego Costa. I don't want Grazio Pelle, who's going to play 10 minutes per game. I don't want any of that. I want a guy that's going to come in and put Antonio on the bench, because if he's not going to do that, I don't want him here. And it's about time we had a manager with a bit of bollocks like that about him. This summer of 2016, when we moved to London Stadium, Bilic almost done the opposite. I love Slav. I'll barely say a bad word about him. But we went and signed all sorts of players. Figuli, Nordveit, Ashley Fletcher. We went after quantity over quality. We built out the squad depth. And in the end, the problem is, out of that squad depth, only about 2 of them were good enough to get into the starting 11. Moyes is only buying players now that can go into that first 11, put a guy in the first 11 onto the bench. And that's what we should be doing. But Sullivan can't provide it. I do think that Sevilla striker is far too expensive. I don't think we can get that done. It's not good. We've got 2 people that just can't really get on, really.
I want to pick something up here, because I've noticed Liam in the chat, and there's a few people saying that I can't believe people are blaming Moyes. I think it's doing my head in actually a little bit, to be fair, all of this, that someone has got to apportion blame. I don't think anybody is suggesting that what Moyes is doing a bad thing. I think saying Moyes is responsible for this and apportioning blame are 2 very, very separate things. Okay, I don't blame, and it's not a blame game. Do I think Moyes is responsible? We haven't got a striker. Yes. Do I blame him? No. I don't want him to take when Wellington Paulista is offered to him or whatever from David Sullivan, when David Sullivan, comes up with his 3 million striker from the Chilean league. Oh, David boy, got you a nice one here. I don't blame him. I want him to say no. I think this is a good thing. I think people are getting a little bit confused here that Moyes is being dug out and punished and blamed. No, this may well be a very, very good thing. I'm struggling with a whole lot, actually, just in terms of, I was disappointed yesterday after the Liverpool result, really disappointed, okay? But then we took a couple of hours off, didn't we, Gio? Came back to that Patreon video, and I'd certainly calmed down quite a bit. And here's the thing, I don't expect us to sign anybody today, and I find I can't deal with this momentum shift in mood of feeling great a day ago and then feeling crap now because of Liverpool and because of this. This might not be the end of the world at all. We might get through. We might still have a second half of the season that mirrors our first half of the season. Ain't been a great couple of days, but I do not feel that it's the end of the world. I certainly can't. I'm not seeing loads of people digging out Moyes.
No, I think we'll only really know for definite whether we've made a mistake in this window at the end of the season and in the summer. If we finish the season as strongly as we started it, and in the summer Moyes comes out and says, right, these are the players I wanted. We couldn't get them in January, but now we can, and we go and get them in. Then we've sacrificed one window for the good of the rest of the season and next season. At the moment, it's too soon to say, but I think you're right. It's not a case of blaming Moyes, but I do think he is dithering a bit, and he's largely responsible for why we're not bringing anyone in.
Anything else, Alan? Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it, fellas. I'll leave you to your evening.
Before you disappear, Alan, I'm going to be a bit naughty. I feel bad doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Fuck it, it's transfer deadline day. We have a patron. Alan's a patron. Alan,
yes.
Without myself and Gonzo telling you what to say, how amazing is the patron? Score it 1 to 10, and why is that 10?
It's a 10, fellas. It's Sky Sports News that's very West Ham biased, without any top six bollocks. And I say to my missus all the time that I spend £6 or £7 to watch you guys for a month, and £110 to watch Sky Sports for about 3 hours. So really appreciate the work you guys do. It gets me to and from work every day. I mean that.
Cheers, Alan. Free patron for you,
mate. Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah. Right. I literally do pick him up every morning and take him to and from work. That's all part of the patron experience.
All for £6 a month.
Yeah,
If you
it's
want to
amazing,
know more
isn't
about Patreon, the link's in the description. Or go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Today is the best day for value if you want to sign up and support the channel and unlock more content. Massively appreciate any support. And I'll also, can I just say one thing before you do? James just put another £2 in full-time fund. Mate, stop putting your money in. You've done your couple of quid for today.
Yeah,
no more from you.
And you're great every time you come on, by the way.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got our next guest before we take the comments, Gonzo, because he's been waiting for a while now. I think he's now on his third beer since.
Well, he knows all about beer because he owns a pub.
Yeah, I hope we're not paying for the drinks in the backstage area, because if we are, James is going to need to put a few more quid in the super chat. Duke, how you doing?
Good evening, boys. How we feeling about the rest of this season? What do you reckon?
Forget about us. How are you feeling, Duke?
Another day and 80% of $1 on furlough, my friend. I just keep going.
Brilliant. What are you making of the transfer deadline day stuff?
I'm fully supporting Moyes in this. There is absolutely no blame from my direction. He has his targets. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants to get out of it, and he's sticking to his guns. He's not going to be forced by, Sullivan's decisions to go out and buy someone if that's the case, as we know has been the past. He's not bowing to fan pressure from us because we're stamping our feet, throwing our toys out of our pram because we want a striker. He has his targets. He knows what he wants, and he knows when he's going to go get them. I think he has the utmost confidence in Odebeku. I really do think that kid's going to come through and come through for us when it counts, when we need him, when the chips are down, when Antonio's Weetabix hamstrings go again, I think he's going to go, here's your chance, son. And he's going to take it and he's going to run with it. I think we'll see the lad kick on and hopefully prove a lot of people wrong.
Gonzo, I'll let you take this. I'm going to be honest. I need a piss. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
So what? Now, he may well have taken the microphone with him. So if we all listen very, very closely, if you hear water running, then no, he may well have done. He may not. Listen, I'm really pleased to hear what you're saying there, because I feel like we're getting a little bit bogged down with all of this. Did you you sound a bit positive, mate. You sound like you've got things to look forward to, and it has been a good season. It's a bad last day of a transfer window in terms of transfer deadline day. But I feel that transfer deadline day is like a Sky Sports construct.
Yeah.
I feel like they set it all up. They get the yellow ticker tape. They make this big thing about it. And I don't know that I've not switched on Sky Sports probably for the last 5 or 6 hours. But from what I can see, this transfer window, I would imagine it's 80% down on all other transfer windows. I just think there's some loans happening. And I think you could persuade me that we should have done a loan for a striker. I think that was something we probably should have done. If Moyes said, I don't want to buy anyone, then get a loan in. But did you have any massive expectations for today?
As I watched Ben's channel earlier. He did a live vid, and I think I put in there that I was kind of hoping for a Man City Robinho kind of one of those out of absolutely nowhere, out of left field, absolutely knock us all sideways. But I was hoping. I'll be honest, it was one of those. I'm not fussed that we haven't. I'm not fussed. I have to admit, I don't think my partner and my 2 kids spoke to me for about 4 hours after the full-time whistle last night, after the language that probably, or did leave my mouth after the game yesterday.
Yeah, sorry, carry on, mate.
And
I can't believe this. So he's on his way down from Merseyside down to Stratford now, undergoing his medical. It's just unbelievable. What a turn of events. But we had this at the end of the last transfer window. If you remember, when the Said Ben Rama deal was going to break down, we almost signed him then. He's done more miles on the Josh King.
Right.
U-turn on the motorway. He's not signing for Everton. He's coming to West Ham.
No, he's not. Fuck off.
I
don't know. Bite, did he? He didn't even bite.
Nah, not a chance. But I'm sorry, but I know who the owners are. There's no chance I was believing that.
Oh well, you took your microphone into the toilet with you.
I didn't know. I went to refresh myself. I'm good. I'm back.
No
ready for the last hour of the show.
Sorry, joke. Beg your pardon. It was worth a go.
Yeah, it was worth it. But I've got Sky Sports on on the telly, so.
Damn.
Sorry. Duke was hoping for a Man City Robinho type moment from West Ham today. Tongue in cheek, of course. Tongue in cheek. He wasn't. I don't think he wasn't really expecting it.
It would have been nice, but I just listen. I don't think we needed to sign someone out of desperation. I don't think it was a case of the guy before alluded to. He has his targets. He knows what he wants. I'd like to think that a lot of thought has gone into who he wants, why he wants them. Chris Scobusi earlier with the talking to you guys about the sprinting up and down the pitch and why that's not going to work, and probably what's affected Antonio a hell of a lot more. I would have liked to have seen Hanky Panky, as you keep calling him. I would love to have seen him coming in this window. I watch a bit of Bundesliga, and last season he was a cracking player. I watched was it the Austrian League last year? Cracking player, certainly caught my eye. Pat Sandaka, another one, cracking player. I personally think both would fit Moyes' system, and part of me kind of hopes we go back next season. In the next window, and we pick one of those two up, because I just think not only not only would they come in and give Antonio a run for his money, I actually think they'd knock Antonio down and out of the team and make Antonio fight for that place back. I don't think they're coming in to sit on the bench. If they're coming in, they're coming in to take his place.
I think that's a good point. I've seen people, this was after the Liverpool game, so emotions were a bit raw, but people were saying, Antonio's been poor for 2 games now, but we can't drop him for the Villa one because we've got no one else. So Antonio is probably the only player in the team that can play bad games and still be guaranteed to start the next one.
Yeah, I can't, I won't disagree with that because it's not possible. That and the fact, I think someone touched on it, Souček has 3 yellow cards now, Rice 4. So we're going to be losing one of them too.
No, we've now played over 19 games. We need 10 now to get a suspension.
Okay, fair enough. So we're in luck with the bookings, but I mean, one of them picks up an injury, a long-term injury. The only one coming into that position is Noble. And as much as I love the guy, and as much as I think, he's been a fantastic servant for the club, he can't come in and play the rate of games that we're playing at the minute. Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday. He's not going to be able to do that. I'd appreciate if he if he came out and said, look, I'll tell you what, I can't cope with this anymore. It's not for me, this first team malarkey. And take that back seat and go, onto the coaching stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm one of the first ones that want him there, cup final day, lifting that trophy, whilst everyone's in my booze and not in Gonzo's garden. Just clear that up.
I'm sorry about that, by the way. It is the right way to do it. I will come to yours.
I want to see Noble lift that trophy. He is Mr. West Ham, but he's not that player that can step into the shoes of Rice and Souček anymore. He really isn't. But the problem is there is no one else. We didn't go out and get anyone this window. I'm not 100% comfortable or understanding of what's coming out of our under 23s that could possibly, replace one of those two should something happen. Worst comes to worst.
Gonzo, anything else?
No, I do like what I just think Duke always speaks well, to be perfectly honest with you, and I'm sort of fully behind everything he says, really, particularly going to his boozer for FA Cup final day. Have you got?
As long as you bring Chris.
Sorry.
As long as you bring Chris Scobusi down with you.
I'll tell you what, he's come down the boats. Chris has come down the boats before as well. Yeah. What I'll tell you now, what you see is what you get. He's a brilliant.
The man's
brilliant
infectious. Laugh. That smile, the laugh, his energy. I absolutely love the guy.
Yeah, well, he is actually. People were saying you should give the team talk. He is a motivational speaker, as you can well expect. It's not the first time.
I'd send him into transfer negotiations. Get him from that Sevilla striker. He'd want to play for West Ham tomorrow. Like, wow, look how much they want him. Look how much they want me. Jesus.
And when they do the show us your medals, he can say, "How funny you say that." Have a look at this.
Brilliant. Listen, Duke, thank you very much for calling in. Pleasure as always. Keep smiling. We'll be around your pub very, very soon, I'm sure.
We will, mate. We will.
Take care, boys. Thank you.
See you, mate. See ya.
Right, our next guest has been waiting a while, Gonzo, so we'll pull him out of the green room and onto the show.
Please do.
Tom's with us. Tom, how you doing?
How are you guys? I'm doing pretty well.
Are you in Malaysia, Tom?
No, I'm in America right now. I think that's the Kazakhstan flag.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, there you go. And I mean, it looks like a Malaysian flag. Well, why have you got a Kazakhstan flag? Why have you? You're in the States, but with a Kazakhstan flag. What's going on?
It's one of my friends. He really likes the movie Borat. So
I love that. He likes Borat. Nice, it's good. He likes it so much. He's got the Kazakhstani flag. That's good, mate. What have you phoned up to moan about? Unless you want to do some Borat impression.
I just honestly just wanted to ring in, say what's up, because I've been watching, and there's not too many West Ham fans over where I am, or that I know of at least. So it's kind of nice to. I've been watching you guys and like West Ham fan TV a lot for a while now. And I wanted to say, I needed to say this. That one Liverpool video might be the funniest video I've ever seen in my life. The Liverpool on the attack.
Oh.
That shit was so funny, dude. I showed all my friends that. They think it's hilarious. Just the turn of events. And I'm like, I'm literally just like, that's what it's like being a West Ham fan.
It is. No, you're right. It's West Ham fan in 20 seconds, isn't it? Really, it's it haunts me every time we play Liverpool. I get tagged in. It's and so does Mike, who's there banging. If you remember, banging his head at the end. It's funny. I actually watched it another 3 or 4 times yesterday because people keep on tagging it, and it's strange. It's obviously people I don't know saying, "Look, West Ham." There you go. Glad you appreciate it.
It hurts, but looking back on it, it was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also wanted to just bring up how I felt about the Liverpool game, the last Liverpool game, not that one. I just feel like, and I was watching on Twitter too. I forget who it was. Someone else was saying this, but I just feel like, especially Moyes, his attitude for that game. Like, obviously Liverpool, it's a very tough game, but I mean, the way we were playing and the way that, he just kind of came out, and I feel like he just gave him a little too much respect, a little too much, in the sense that it almost was like we were like beaten before the game even started. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's got a problem with playing against the big clubs, to be honest with you. 2 points from 21 this season sort of suggests that as well. And it's a bit frustrating because he talks about changing the mentality of West Ham United all the time, but I think he needs to change his own mentality a little bit for the benefit of West Ham United. It's frustrating. It's an isolated incident, and before people start complaining about David Moyes, we're talking about 90 minutes only. We're not talking about the season here.
Exactly.
I make you right, Tom. I think yesterday he got it wrong. And when we do play the top 6 again later on in the season, we are probably going to have to pick up points. As simple as that. If we want to maintain where we are, we want to go for European football, because our record against the non-top 6, the other 13, is just ridiculous this season. Only Newcastle beat us. We're not going to sustain that form for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I like how you just said that, we're only talking about the 90 minutes, because I completely support Moyes. And I mean, especially by the way the season started, the fact that we are where we are now is incredible, and he's done an amazing job. I just feel like I don't know, it's like I was watching your stream the other day, and you were the one that said it. You said, what were your exact words? Something like, European football is not, West Ham is not like, it's not guaranteed. It's not, but where we are now, we're allowed to dream. And I think dreaming is a huge part of football. And I think that when your own manager is out there kind of like, almost like, we don't really have a chance, kind of, it's, how are we supposed to dream when the own, like, I don't know. I feel like the attitude kind of got to change, but I do really like Moyes a lot. I think he's doing a great job.
Good man, Tom. Listen, we've got a really random question. It's not random. You must get asked this all the time here. But James is asking, what made you support West Ham? Honestly,
I just, growing up, played soccer. I never really got into like watching the Premier League or anything. And then when I did, I started playing FIFA too a lot when I got back into soccer, playing FIFA. And I just started hearing all about West Ham, and I just kind of fell in love with the club. I love the atmosphere. I love, players like Mark Noble, just real stand-up guy, and like stuff like that.
But where are you from?
I'm from Maryland.
So why? I don't know why. When you watch the Premier League, would you go for not one of the big ones? I mean, it's I guess like us not wanting to support the Yankees or whatever in baseball. Do you know what I mean? It's but most people do.
That's the thing. It kind of like, I kind of wanted to support a team, like, I mean, that I wanted to support, but like also like, everyone kind of around here, especially because, none of us were from America. So it's not like you grow up, oh, I'm from Manchester. That's how it is with like the NFL here. It's like, oh, I'm from Carolina. So I'm North Carolina. I'm to support the Carolina Panthers. But I just kind of wanted to be a little different. And so I started looking at teams. And, it wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, oh, I'm a West Ham fan. It just was kind of over time. I just was like, wow, I really like this club. So.
Nice.
Do you follow the MLS? Hammer 1999 is asking if there's any decent players.
I watched MLS. I think the Roldan brothers, Jordan Morris he's an American. Jordan Morris is pretty good, but he actually just went to Swansea, I believe. So it's another American breaking it abroad, which is pretty cool.
He used to play for West Ham. I assume he's still at Galaxy. Sebastian Lletget. How's he getting on? Do you know?
Oh, I like him a lot. He's pretty good. I think he was injured. Like I said, I watch MLS, but I'm way more into the Premier League. I want to get more because I feel like the MLS too just kind of took, everyone took a halt because of COVID, but it's just been kind of hard. But yeah, Sounders did good this year.
Any Dembeles in the MLS?
Oh, there's gotta be. Is there any Dembeles?
Just ignore him. Just call it Hank Dumbelli and be done with it. It's probably the easiest thing to do.
That's awesome.
Right, listen, Tom, thank you very much for joining us. Massively appreciate it. Keep in touch. Keep joining in future episodes. And
yep. Thanks for having me.
See you soon. Cheers,
Thanks,
Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Right, we'll get some more in. Charlie, can you add the next guest's audio, please? I don't know how you do that. You're gonna have to teach me. We've got our regular on West Ham Online. How you doing?
Hello, mate. I'd just like to say I think both of you have done a brilliant job with this stream so far, especially getting X on and
Wait, hang on,
Chris.
both of us.
I've done particularly well, I think.
Mainly
He
Gio,
fucked
mainly
off for
Gio.
half of it. He fucking disappeared for half of it. Now, next you're going to be saying that Yarmolenko put in a good shift against Liverpool. He come on for 10 minutes.
Well, Becco
As you were.
Becco certainly didn't put in a good shift because once again David Moyes didn't give him any time. But anyway, the main the main thing I wanted to say coming on here is I do agree with Gonzo's point. This might not be the end of the world, the fact we've not signed a striker, but I do want to say the board have really shown why large proportions of the fans are GSBL, large proportions of the fans have been involved in marches, posts, everything in order to get them out of the club. I think they've lacked initiative in this transfer window. I think they've been reactionary, and I think they've been really disappointing throughout the whole window. The first mistake they made for me was selling Haller without having any deal or concrete interest in another striker that they knew was likely to go through or was supposedly on the verge of going through. Their second mistake was the En-Nesyri from Sevilla, the bid for him. Now, Sevilla's president for weeks had been saying no less than 50 million euros is being accepted. Sullivan goes in and puts a 35 million bid, and that was the highest we went, and that was Moyes' main target. And the third mistake they've done is literally not replacing Haller at all, leaving us with one striker. Two, if Odibeko gets any game time. So, once again, the board have not taken advantage of a good position and have left us struggling going forward.
Yeah, so if we did get a striker in, would you have been okay with the transfer window? Is that all we're lacking, just that one striker?
Yeah, I think if we would have got a striker in, the fans couldn't really have complained because by getting in Lingard and a backup for Antonio, you look at what the teams around us have done in the January transfer window. They've not done a lot, let's be honest. So I think by taking advantage of the situation and at least providing some backup to Antonio, who no way is he going to start in the 17 minimum league and cup games we've got left. I think the fans would have been happy if we would have signed a decent striker.
Where do you think the problem lies? I know you watched some of the stream. There was a couple of discussions with different guests throughout in the live chat. I keep suggesting that, who do you sort of point the finger at here, Moyes or the board or a bit of both? Where are you putting it down to?
I'm going to say a bit of both because Moyes could have completely said to Sullivan, no, don't sell Haller yet. We've not got a concrete offer on the cards. But the main problem is obviously Sullivan because he's the one who agreed the deal to sell Haller, knowing that they hadn't had another striker lined up. It's a stupid thing to do and has left the struggling going forward. They just didn't take advantage of our position or the transfer window well. they didn't use their initiative, and it's quite disappointing to see, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think it's made a great point there, which leads into something else, which is I think you've got to give the manager enough license to do what he wants, and I think you do. And from that, I totally agree. I don't want David Sullivan coming in and buying players that Moyes might not want and might not want to use. Absolutely right. But he's actually got a really good point there, which is it is, however, the chairman's, and I say the chairman because we don't have a director of football, it's absolutely his responsibility to make sure that there is a functional squad there. So that's not bringing players in over his head, but actually making sure before anybody goes out that somebody else is in. Now, a director of football would have done that role, actually. And you can't leave every decision up to Moyes. So do you go and ignore Moyes' targets? Totally. No. But if you can't get them, you make sure that there's provision there. And it could be that. It could be actually not selling Haller. Look, we borrowed a rumoured around 100 million. So you say to Moyes, right, we've got this deal with Ajax. This must go on all the time with clubs, by the way. So you say to Ajax that, okay, you want to buy him. We've got a provisional agreement in place. We're going to go and get our striker. You use the money from the borrowed funds, you get the striker in, then you sell Haller. Or if it doesn't work like that, then you say to David Moyes, okay, I'm saving your budget. I totally respect what you say. I'm going to save your budget until the summer and we'll do what you want. We'll go and get your big main guy then. However, I'm going to bring in a loan fella now. Here's a loan player for you, a cover striker. Use him, don't use him. It doesn't matter. It's not cost us an awful lot. But what you're doing there is you're not being negligent. You're not leaving the manager with a thin squad. I think it's a really, really good point about selling Haller. I don't argue with selling him, but the way it was done was wrong.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I was far, far from Haller's biggest fan, but even I know that we needed a replacement if we was going to sell him, because if Antonio gets injured now, we're left with Yarmolenko or Odubeko up front. Odubeko is a young kid. We don't yet know if he's going to be first team ready, although I'm a big fan of him. Yarmolenko, I'm not sure if he's Premier League standard up front. So we've been left in a vulnerable position going forward. And on the other end of the spectrum, a smart club, RB Leipzig, they wouldn't give us Hwang Hee-chan on loan because they was worried about squad depth. They've already got 3 strikers. A smart club has squad depth and doesn't agree deals until they have other ones on the pipeline. And that's what RB Leipzig do, and that's what we don't do.
Yeah, brilliant points you made there. I'm going to expand on Gonzo's one in a second, mate. But listen, thank you for phoning in. Sorry to rush you, but I'm conscious of the time. We've got guests lined up to come on, and one of them, I think, is using his bloody mobile data, so I'm a bit wary of that. But listen, thank you very much for phoning in. I always enjoy your calls, so take care.
Yeah, well said, mate. Well said. Particularly the first bit where he said we've done well.
Brilliant. Right. We've got Peach. I was going to get Peach in next. I'm a bit scared he's using his phone data, but he seems frozen, so we'll risk it and see if he's there. Peach, can you hear us okay? No, he's not. If he joins back in, we'll get him. And what I think, Gonzo, your point there about how Sullivan shouldn't go over Moyes' head, he's done it. He's done it with Saeed Benrahma. He's done it with Soufal. I don't believe David Moyes picked Soufal. Fredericks got injured, and within 24 hours, Soufal was on a plane heading over to England and stuff. So arguably, our last 2 signings, not Jesse Lingard, prior to that, Sullivan's gone above Moyes and said, well, I'm bringing these in, make them work. And Moyes has made them work and stuff. And it's now almost all of a sudden, it's almost like, well, it'll suit me not to bring in any players, so I won't bring in any players. Right, so here we go. We've got a bit of him. Peach's right elbow, can you hear us? No, we're going to have to ditch him. Charlie, can you just message him and tell him we can't hear him or see him and something? And
Sorry, Peach. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Peach, mate. But anyway, Logan's been waiting a while. Logan, how you doing?
Goodness. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good, thanks, mate.
You were not in my rocking chair this time. Sorry.
Different chair. Chair.
I was watching my girls and I got frustrated about you guys talking about strikers, so I ran into their room and was just kind of rocking earlier.
Transfer deadline chair.
Yeah. I'm more serious this time.
Okay. You've got dossiers. Clearly, you've got dossiers of all the strikers that we've been linked with in the filing cabinet behind you, mate.
Yeah. It's all the signings that we didn't get. So
nice.
it's quite big. So I'm just kind of coming. Wow, sorry, all over the place. I want to kind of digest where I'm at because I feel like in the last 48 hours I've gone on a huge roller coaster of just emotions, and I'm irrationally frustrated and disappointed at this point. I'll start with my fears. My fear is that Antonio gets hurt, Yarmolenko gets hurt, and then Meepo isn't going to be able to do anything. And then that Suchek or Rice goes down and Cresswell goes down. Any of the two of those combinations. And our season is sitting at mid-table and meaningless. And all the dreams that we have been talking about the last couple of weeks are nightmares and gone. So,
look, I agree. I agree with what you say, and particularly the emotional roller coaster. I'm conscious that we let ourselves get built up to the point where we did, and I include myself as the bigger culprit as anyone in there. I got very, very excited about all this, but I don't want to get too down in the dumps now. And I understand what you're saying in a scenario where if two key players get injured, it could have a really detrimental effect. You said Cresswell. Who was the partner with Cresswell that might get Cresswell and
Suchek or Rice.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to counter argue that. I think Cresswell would be a loss. I think we would struggle to create as many goal scoring opportunities from set plays, but I think we could handle it defensively. Cresswell being out, certainly. The two in central midfield, that's reason enough to keep Noble around. And I do still think, I know a lot of people have written Noble off. I don't want to see Noble start, and I hope that Mark Noble isn't needed. However, I do still think we have some options there. I think what we're talking about is a long-term injury. But I do think that actually you could, for the odd game, you put Noble there. You play Fornals in the middle. You could do something else. Maybe Lingard can play there. I don't know. I sometimes think, actually, we're so well drilled, clearly not against Liverpool. I wouldn't put it past us to actually lose a couple of players and still get results. I don't think we should. I think we should have planned better. But I don't know, Logan. Do you not have? You obviously don't have that much. I think you're worried. I think it's just the emotional thing. But I think you're worried about things before they've actually happened because you're disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's nail on the head right there. I mean, I'm excited about our squad. I'm excited what Moyes is doing, and I think it's just the hype of we were in a Champions League spot and then just got thumped by Liverpool, and then you start going in a downward spiral of our squad is built paper thin and our board isn't going to spend money, and we're getting older. And I think this morning kind of the thing that sent me a little bit was seeing that Coventry might go out on loan, and that was just incredibly frustrating because like central mid is where we need depth at, and our only young prospect that I know of is being looked at being sent out of the club.
Well, I think you make a great point. I don't want to see Coventry go out. I think in many respects, we're talking about a lot of things that have gone wrong. I think one of the major things that we did wrong was obviously Cullen leaving. I think that is a bad thing. I think if we still had him here, we wouldn't half be worried, and I'd be able to come back at you and say, well, actually, I think we possibly could lose the two players there. I wrote down something earlier, and it wasn't for anyone. It was for myself when I was sort of preparing. I didn't actually say it, but I actually wrote down, which was just because we haven't signed anyone transfer deadline day, and just because we've lost to Liverpool, doesn't mean our season's over and doesn't mean we have to stop dreaming. And I do think that. Now, don't get me wrong, I would be happy to revisit that. And whilst I think the proof of the pudding of the transfers is going to be in the summer, I also think that 2 more games, we lose our next 2 games, then we've lost 3 games in a row. That would be unprecedented, all right? That would mean something because David Moyes just hasn't done that at West Ham. David Moyes tends to bounce back after a defeat with either a win or a draw. And I'm just a little bit mindful that look, we're doing a transfer show here, until 11 o'clock at night. Clearly, no business has happened. Did you expect anything to happen tonight, by the way?
No. And I think that's what's worse about me being frustrated and disappointed is I think if we would have had any business, it would have been done by now. I mean, so going into Liverpool, I didn't think it mattered. And I think getting just manhandled by Liverpool just exposed how vulnerable we are and how Moyes isn't prepared to take us into Europe with the squad that we have.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Sorry, I've only been half.
No. It's cool. Listen, Logan, we have got a lot of people.
Yeah,
waiting.
sure.
I appreciate you joining us, mate. I really do. We'll continue to see you again, and thanks for all your support, mate. You had one more point, did you?
I think the one thing I said, roller coaster. If we see youth playing, Coventry, we see Ashby, we see Baptiste and Meepo, I think that this could be a positive thing. If we're not bringing anyone in. That's what I want to see for the rest of the season. It's just youth being played, and I think that we can look back at this if one player breaks in and makes himself a mainstay into our squad, that this won't matter anymore. And that's all I had to say. I appreciate it. You guys are a huge bright spot in my day. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys so much.
Thanks, Logan. Thanks for watching, mate. We'll be hitting you up for your dossiers on players. Where we'll have you working your way through that filing cabinet, mate. For I take it the top left drawer is just Dembele's.
Yeah, all Dembele's for
good.
Sure.
I like it. I'll be in touch, my friend.
You guys have a good night. Thank you again.
Cheers, buddy. Take care.
Right, Tommy, just hang on. We've got Peach with a half decent signal. Peach, can you hear us?
Finally, like what, man? Holy crow!
It's not our fault, Peach. It's your phone.
Gonzo, Dio, I walked around the whole block like I was trying to get a signal on my data. My data. Shit ain't working, dog. But yo, I wore the thing still.
Peach, maybe it was a walking around the block that did it. Maybe you should have stood still.
What's up, man?
I'll just say maybe it was the walking around the block that was the problem with the signal.
Oh man, like I tried in one spot, like where I normally shoot the videos that I do like my match reviews, and then like I tried another spot.
Where do you do your match reviews? I need to know. Where do you go?
So I told you, like outside my building, and then like in between like the grocery store and my building.
So do people come up when you're doing your match reviews? You put the camera up on the wall or something. Do people come past with their groceries and stuff while you're saying, giving your match report on it?
No, they come by with their poodles and Shih Tzus and their Manchester United scarves. And, honestly, how are you guys feeling, man? Like, I didn't expect we were gonna get anybody today. Really, I didn't.
Me neither.
Nah.
You're not disappointed then?
No, it was kind of like foregone. Like the owners aren't going to back Moyes, and it's really sad because they back Pellegrini like crazy, and it's a shame that seeing Moyes doing what he's doing with his backroom staff and not backing him is kind of disgusting, man.
Yeah, I think the disappointment. I think 2 days. I think 2 days before the Liverpool game, that was when I knew we weren't going to sign anyone. So I think it's. I was more disappointed then, but we had the distraction of the game coming up. So
yeah,
you're hopeful for Villa, though, Pete. You're hopeful for Villa.
Oh, we'll do it. Well, the Grealish Bambi on ice. That was a beautiful comment. I forget who said that, but I think might have been Ray or somebody that said that. But it was a brilliant comment. With like, no, we'll do Villa, but my expectations for Liverpool were so high. I honestly thought like we'd get the best of them, and we just sat back and parked the bus. It was nah.
He's right.
Like, what else can you say, man? Honestly, it was. Why did he put on Noble and Fredericks? Why?
I think to save legs, he knew the game was gone. Didn't do it to win the game. He decided at that point, that's it. Save some legs for Villa. I think that's what he was doing, Peach.
What's your what do you think Villa's going to be like, Gonzo?
Villa.
Yep.
Well, me and myself and GL will deal with that tomorrow, my friend. We'll have a preview up tomorrow, which is only the.
No, but what do you think? What do you think? Like,
you can't. No, you can't give over. You
on.
can't give tomorrow's
Come
predictions
on.
today, Peach. Crikey,
No, no prediction. It's just like you got a good feeling, or you have like a shitty feeling.
Better of you. Is anyone walking past to throw a snowball at?
What's that, mate?
Anyone walking past to throw a snowball at?
Oh no, I'm inside now, dog. I'm inside now. I have to come inside to get like a proper Wi-Fi signal, man.
Oh right, okay. Well, I'm pleased you don't have snow inside. Otherwise, you'd have a problem with your roof.
So, Gio, what's up, dog? What are you saying? I never talked to you, man. What are you saying, dog?
I was wanting to see some snowball action. I'm a bit disappointed.
You wanted to see some snowball action last time, and I done did that, but the camera cut out, man.
It was rubbish. No one got assaulted. I want to see an assault with a snowball. I want to see someone attacked.
Yo, Brenton, I assaulted this random gal, and like, yo, I had it all on camera, and then the camera went like, You missed it.
Convenient.
No, but for real, man, I did, man, and yo, I promise you, man, next time, like when my connection's all good and thing, I'll assault anybody, dog. I don't care, man. How do you mean, man?
I wonder if you could transform a Nerf gun into a snowball gun.
Imagine that, like.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'll be doing. Yes.
Whoa. So what? Like, what do you guys think about the transfer window?
Brilliant.
My thoughts exactly.
When it started, I thought, you know what I really wanted is Binder. I want to sign Ben Rama for a second time and Jesse Lingard. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm just disappointed they didn't bring Sir Ben Rama out with the same shirt that they used to parade him the first time. I'd have changed his number to sell a few extra shirts.
I see that. What's your thoughts on Jesse Lingard though? Like, I think he's gonna be dope. I think he's gonna be like he wants to revive his career. He wants to get back on the United squad. He wants to get into the Euro having a laugh. So it's like, yo, he's hungry, man. Like, no, yes, maybe
well,
so.
I like any footballer with a girl's name. I would sign Allison.
That's your daughter's name, dog. That's your daughter's blood clot name, dog.
It is my daughter's name. Yeah, it is my daughter's name. Yeah. I named my daughter Jesse Lingard.
No, but you think he's a good signing, or do you think it's just like, yeah?
I'll give him every chance. I'll give him every chance. I hope so. He might be really good.
Yeah, it might like that was a masterstroke. Like signing Suchek and then Sufal, that was honestly a masterstroke, man. And I hope that Lingard is a Moyes signing and that he sees something or knows something about him that, you know, we already kind of do, but don't. Like, he got bricks thrown at him on the bus, but like maybe like he'll throw bricks at the opposition, man.
Absolutely, but I don't know what you just said, Peach. To be perfectly honest with you, I was sort of reading the comments on that, but you have to excuse me.
No, that's cool. Gio was listening. Like,
Gio was trying not to laugh, I think.
He was listening, dog. But it's like, no, I just hope Jesse Lingard can work out for us. Like, I've always liked Jesse Lingard from England times because I thought that he was the glue that kept like Gareth Southgate squad together. Like he was the character. He was that boy that kept them together. I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but like I think you'll add something, man. I really, really do. I really, really do, man. And I hope he does. For our sake, I hope he does, man.
That was a good one. Where's the mugging one gone? Somebody wrote that you look like you've mugged a West Ham fan. Like you were walking past a West Ham fan in the street, you mugged them and you nicked all their claret and blue stuff.
I did, bro. I did. I seen some dude like walking by wearing claret and blue, and I was like, give me that. Like straight up, I took the scarves, I took the hat, I took the shirt.
Don't take any more clothes
I was
off,
like,
Pete.
give me that, like, that's
Crikey,
mine.
stop stripping off. It's Canada anyway. It won't be a pretty sight. JC, where's Jake? Where's he gone? He's kindly
Jake
donated.
is so dope. I love Jake, man. Jake is so dope, man.
JC, he wants to know, how did you become a hammer with a generous donation of £5?
He took their clothes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Why West Ham?
My father. And all my family, like they lived in Barking, Dagenham. Like my mother and father immigrated to Canada in 1970, and I was born here, but I only got East London blood in me, dog. So it's like East London till I die, dog. How you mean? Like I stopped myself from swearing that, but it's like no real talk, like. It's like what? Barking, Upney, Dagenham East. Like my nan used to live right across the road from Dagenham and Redbridge, dog. Like I done been to their supporters club. I done been to like West Ham supporters club. Like and then my dad's godson, like he got me the first ticket to go to Upton Park bowling ground, which was heaven, man. Like that was heaven. Like when we went in the side entrance, and like when you walk down, like through the turnstiles, when you walk down, and all you saw was the claret and blue. It was in the chicken run, and oh, heaven, man, heaven, man. Like these were like Etherington times, like Thomas Repka times. You know what I mean? But like we got something going on good right now, man. And David Moyes surprised me because I wasn't initially for him. I thought that the board kind of sold him off on the first stint, and like he came back. They didn't want Pierce back, but then he got Pierce back. Nolan, brilliant. Irvine, brilliant. Naveen, brilliant. Like he's really proved all of us wrong. Well, he's proved me wrong. He's proved me wrong because I wasn't about it. But I don't like how they've handed all this money to Pellegrini because I think that was like an Avram Grant mistake, man. Like, why did they hand all this money to Pellegrini, but they're not going to hand it to Moyes, who's actually doing something, man?
Listen, Peach, we got to get Irish Tommy on.
One more question. I've got one more question for him.
Yeah.
Before, as you disappear, the chat are asking if you can sing the Bubbles.
Oh no, you know what one I like, and I'm doing a tune over this. So you know when we done beat Preston North End to like get back promotion into the into the Premier League. It goes like I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air. They fly so high, they reach the sky. No, it doesn't go like that. That's like the normal one. It was I'm forever blowing bubbles. Pretty bubbles in the air, they fly so high, they reach the sky, and like my dreams, they fade and die. Fortune's always hiding. I've looked everywhere. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Legend. Peach, thank you very much. Thank you, Peach.
Gio, it was a pleasure talking to you for like the first time. It was a pleasure talking to you for the first time. Me and Gonzo been talking from time. Yo, nothing spec. What you guys do, man? Yo, so
Hey,
dope,
do us a
man.
favour.
Like,
Do us a favour.
I'm sorry. I'm not a Patreon. I can't afford it right now. Real talk. Like when I can, I will be. But I respect what y'all do so much, man. Like,
Well, you need to mug some more people, Peach.
Well, I gotta find them. I gotta find
I know.
them. Like,
Listen, do us a favour. If you see Pellegrini,
Millwall supporters, how do you mean, dog? Bust them down, man. How do you mean?
yeah. I'm not responsible. It was a joke. Please don't do anyone on our behalf.
Like Peach,
I'm
save your
playing
phone.
too, dog. Yo, I'm playing too, just a bit
I know
of
you are,
humor,
mate.
man.
I know you are.
I'm not like that.
I know.
Right, Peach.
Gio, you're a legend. Gio,
Thank
you're a
you.
legend. Oh, yo, hold up. Before I go, hold up. I ain't even playing with you. Hold up. Before I go, I ain't even playing with you. Hold up.
I'm nervous.
No. Don't be nervous. No, my mom's here. Don't be nervous. My mom's here. Don't be nervous. Hold on. Where did my pizza go? Oh, what?
Where's his
I'll tell
pizza?
you. I'm talking to Gio and Gonzo. Look. Can you see that? No, you can't see. Can you? No, hold on. That's for Charlie. Yeah.
Oh,
Pineapple, pepperoni, and cheese. Done. That is what that. Shit. Hold up. Hold on. Live things are so dope, right? No, that's like because Charlie the other day, dog, he was talking about the pepperoni, pineapple, and cheese, dog. That's my go-to. And I tried a Subway thing the other day, which was like chicken, bacon, and sweet corn. Mwah. Beautiful, man. Yo, big up yourself, man. Trust me. I'm so so happy to be on this with y'all, man. You guys do a wicked job still, man. Big up yourselves, man.
We do our best. Peach, Daniel.
Oh, here we go. Oh, bless you.
Daniel's just put some money in and says to get you a patron, subscribe patron. Daniel's paid for a month for you. He's fucked off. He's gone.
he'll know. Listen, he'll watch this. He'll watch the end.
Daniel,
just see himself all
thank
over.
you very much. You're an absolute gem.
Nice you, mate. That's nice, yeah.
We will make sure Peach gets a month patron. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was eventful.
There we go.
He's trying to come back. Right, Peach. Just before you go.
I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry, dog. Like I pressed two things on my phone and it went from like A to Z. Like Antonio, when Antonio shoots, goes from A to Z. Antonio should have put that in the back of the goal the other day, dog. I ain't even playing, man. Craig Dawson, though, Superman. What a boy, man. Like,
right, Peach, be quiet for 1 minute and listen. Someone called Daniel just kindly gave us £7 to get you a patron subscription. Daniel has paid for you to be a patron, okay? We'll sort that out.
Done.
He's chuffed.
Not many, man. Not many, dog. How do you mean, man? That's like what? That's like I don't know, going to grab some ganja and like I'm paying like half of it for you. It's like what? It's only gonna cost me like $5 rather than like 10. Like, okay, I'm down. These are hard times, dog. These are hard times, and I know, especially Gonzo's wife. Like, she runs through it, man. Working at the NHS and thing, she runs through it, man. And it's like Canada went in complete lockdown like last month, dog. And it's like, and I done lost my job too, dog. Mashed up, done lost my job too, man. And it's like crazy time. It's like war times, but there's not a war. It's just like there's like, I don't know, some stupid thing that can like get you sick like through the air. It's weird, man. But yeah, man. Big up yourself, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Peach, there's two other, Oshizi has donated a tenner to your patron.
Wow.
As well. Yeah, absolutely.
My G.
And Happy Hammer 82, also $4.99. And Alfie Noodle, £7. Basically, mate, you've got patron. And do you know what, Adam? No, people are coming in. People are paying for your patron, right?
Yo, I love all of them. Those are my people, dog. Like, yo, like not they're my people, like my people, but those are my people. Like, We go on these things every day, dog. We check out your things. We check out Russ's things. We check out all the man them's things, dog. And it's like, we're West Ham through and through, man. Trust me, man.
Mate, I know. We noticed that you watch every video, so you're going to have a lot more to watch now, mate.
Yo, I love y'all guys, man. I love y'all guys, man. Straight, I love y'all guys, man. Like y'all two and Charlie and Mike Manera and Tony. Yo, big things, man. Trust me, man. I love y'all, man.
Logan as well. Logan has just donated $9.99.
What is going on?
James has won the lottery. I think
what is going on, man?
Oh,
Ben,
look at this.
You got the money coming in, mate. This is crazy. Mate. You've got a lot of patrons.
Me and Gonzo tell everyone about Patreon. No one joins up. Peach can't afford it. And all of a sudden, all the donations come packing in.
Xavier Martinez, another $5.
Listen, Peach.
He says, much love, Peach, you legend. Peach, sorry, Gio. Peach, you're going to have to come on here and just read through the chat and then have a look, mate.
I will, man.
W66, Andy Smith.
Like Peach, just for 1 second. Just for 1 second.
So much, man. It's like, you know how y'all can't go to games? It's like, that's how I feel living in Canada. Like, I can't go to games. So now y'all know how I feel. Like, y'all can't go to games, and I can't go to games, and you got to watch it on television. And it's like, it's shit, but it's like at least you get to see the squad. At least you get to see a match. You know what I mean? Like, trust me, man. It's crazy times, good times. I love what y'all do, man. Nothing but love, man. Real talk.
Right, Peach, be quiet for 1 minute. There's people sending more money. You're going to have to come on and have a look yourself. But I will email you tomorrow about the Patreon. Right. You sorted out. You have a year subscription of Patreon. Thank you to the generosity of the people in the live chat.
Big up all the man them. Big up all the people. Thank you so much. It's much respected. Yo, I'm not a selfish guy. I'm a selfless guy. Like, trust me, man. I'm like Banford. Like when he could have taken that shot on goal the other day, but he passed it to the man them and he scored. Like, yo, trust me.
Right, Peach, I'm going to have to kick you off now. Tommy's been waiting for ages. Your data's running low. Peach, thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much. Soon. Yes, my people, trust me. Gio and Gonzo in the place to be, man. How do you mean, man?
Take care. Good night.
All the best, mate.
You too, man.
Right, Gonzo.
Wow. That is amazing what's just happened there. And I mean, too many that you couldn't click them and still coming through.
Yeah, they're still happening.
It's and Ray there and people, Andy, just so many. And I'll tell you what, he's still, we can still see him backstage. He's still gobbing off now, going mad about it, right? He's really happy. He is Hammers Chat mad. I'm telling you now, he messages me two or three times a day. And I'll tell you what, Gio, I don't think I ever thought when we would do these videos that I would ever hear the words someone saying to me, it's like going to get some ganja and finding out that someone's paid half and it's only $5. There you go. Not a phrase I ever thought anybody would ever say.
He's buzzing in the back, and I think he just went to tell his mum because he was with his mum just 2 seconds ago. But listen, thank you to everybody who's donated. It's probably one of the best moments, possibly the best moment in Hammers Chat, actually.
His mum's eating the pizza while he was out, so here you go. Got to take the rough and the smooth in life.
This boy asking why the fuck there's pineapple on the pizza. But listen, that was incredible. Thank you to everybody in the live chat and stuff. I mean, there's people saying that they're crying in the live chat and stuff. Where was it? There was one there. There you go. Chris's one saying he had lump in his throat. It was just ridiculous, actually, that was coming through. And like you said, Hammers Chat history. It really is. It's quite funny, actually. It's very funny. We'll get Tommy on. Actually, Tommy can come on and just sit there for a second. Tommy, we'll get you in a second. But at the very start of this, when Charlie come on 2 hours ago, I said to Charlie, I used to love Transfer Deadline Day because we've had the Tony Henry thing, we've had the Jordan Hugo thing, we've had the Diafasaka thing, we've had Tom down in his mum's dress thing. We've always had memories on Transfer Deadline Day. And do you know something? We've had one tonight, even though there's been naff all happening with the transfer world. And this is just more coming. You know, Christopher's £25 in the super chat. Thank you, Christopher. Liam's whacked a tenner in for saying that he loves the community. This is for the full-time funding and for Peach as well. Just to reassure everybody, thank you. We'll make sure that
100%.
we're going to give Peach a year's patron. So thank you for that. We'll top it up ourselves or whatever. We'll sort him out. Anyway, Tommy, how you doing? I bet you've come on to have a rant, seen all that, and thought, well, I can't really argue about stuff now, can I?
Yeah, I'm like a fucking ocean of calm. I'm like, it's like my Zen has been like kind of rebalanced or something. That was amazing.
Can we just say Tommy already has Patreon?
Yeah, I'm already patroned up. I paid for my year in advance. So, I don't want you guys fucking coming after me. We're knocking on my fucking door. Missed this month. Because I know what Gonzo's like.
We usually don't. Not until the 3rd, anyway.
Yeah, but no, that was amazing. Peach is quite a character. I was in the background, and I know you guys probably felt like you kept me waiting for ages, which, by the way, you did. But
that's right.
It didn't feel like it, to be honest. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant. Listen, if it had gone on till 10 o'clock and with Peach, and you'd have said, "Sorry, Tom, we can't get you on today," I'd have been absolutely fine with that. What a character! He's a great guy. He's very, very passionate, and it comes across. He's good people, Peach. A very genuine guy, very passionate about West Ham, and obviously just brilliant. He's hilarious, and although he terrified me when he started moving around with that phone, I did not know what was coming. I was like, just please do not have a girl tied up in your room or something. But
I thought he was ready to mug someone. I actually thought he was ready to go outside with that on. We've encouraged this.
Yeah, I just didn't want to see like his pet dog hanging somewhere, or thankfully it was just his mum making a pizza. But no, he's a good guy, and I'll tell you what. Yeah, we talk about. Yeah, we come on here and we rant and rave and all that, and that's what we do, and that's fine. But when it comes down to it, we've seen it time and time again. Obviously, I suppose, particularly with Isla, that we are really a family, and when West Ham fans are in need, I mean, the generosity of the fans of this club is incredible. I mean, I think he's got more donations than the Sudan at this point. So, like, he's probably got Patreon for life at this point. He probably should be a Patreon life member, Peach. Let's be honest. He deserves it. He's a long way away. He doesn't get to go to any games or anything. And this, I guess, Hammer's chat and shows like it, it's his lifeline to the club. And I imagine it's incredibly important to him, and so I'm really made up for him. That was brilliant, and yeah, you're right. It leaves me scarcely. I feel like it would be just a terrible thing to bring the whole thing down now with complaints.
Well, why not? You might listen. You might as well. Look, that was a special moment, but it's transfer deadline day. We're about to sign someone in the next 9 minutes, I'm sure. So get your moan in before
three or four,
absolutely, before they unveil Mbappe.
Wagsy, thank you very much for a couple of quid. How do we come on? It's too late for tonight, Wagsy. We're wrapping this up in a little bit. Tom is our last guest, but in future shows, if you direct message at Chat Hammers on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, give us an email. We're a little bit suspicious about emails because we almost want to verify who it is for accountability, because we don't want someone coming on calling us a nonce and going away again.
I'm not calling Tommy a nonce. I wouldn't say that about That's what we don't want.
James has put about is a fiver to make about £50 from him for the evening. Now James is skint, but he says that he's breaking news. Peach signs for Patreon. He absolutely loves it. West Ham family, and Eddie's put in what a beautiful bunch of Dembélés. I think this.
Absolutely.
Proud to be part of it.
You certainly are, Eddie.
What's the group of Dembélés called again?
I went for hamper in the end. A hamper of Dembélés.
Yeah. I like that. You ever hear that weird one? A murder of crows. Do you know that one?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a bizarre one. It's a bit but yeah, I just think, what have we got left? Like 7 minutes or something left in the window. It's actually quite astonishing that we haven't brought a striker in of any stripe under any circumstances. Even if it was just okay, we can't get the forwards that Moyes really wants. But look, here is someone who we can get in on loan till the end of the season who will be good enough as cover until we can get who you do want in the summer. The fact that nothing has happened is actually quite astonishing. I mean, we knew some time ago that Haller was going to Ajax. That was very early in the window. And when that happened, I thought, oh yeah, okay, now we're definitely getting a striker. Because technically we don't actually have one registered. I mean, Odebeko isn't registered; he's under 23. So I think we've got 18 or so outfield players now registered, and not one of them is actually technically a striker, which is a bizarre situation to find ourselves in. And I think Sullivan is playing with fire right now because, I mean, the fan base are going to be ticked off now about this. You can see all the GSB out stuff is coming back now and is trending again on Twitter. I'm sure I don't have Facebook, but I'm sure it's over there too. But if this goes wrong, like if we do get injuries and we start tumbling down the table, particularly in the striker position, if Antonio goes down, let's say Odebeko goes down as well, and Yarmolenko is firing blanks, which seems likely if he's playing 90 minutes every week, and we begin to tumble down the table, it's really going to hit the fan then. It's really going to come back to haunt the board, this one, I think, potentially. So they are playing with fire. Now, they might get away with it. We'll see. But really, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Tommy. I think it's bang on. I think it's a missed opportunity, and I think it's a risk they're taking. I think it's a massive risk. And the thing is with Antonio, when Antonio was missing earlier on in the season, while Allaire come in and perhaps didn't play to standards, he scored goals that got us 3 points in the table. He got that equaliser against Crystal Palace and won the game against Sheffield United. An extra 3 points he earned us on his own. That is equivalent to 3 points, which is currently the difference between us in 5th and Villa in 9th at the moment. So when you say tumbling down the table, that could be 3 games. It could be 3 games and we're sitting in mid-table. I'm clinging. I don't want to say this. Part of me is clinging to the hope that we beat Man United and we do tumble, we focus on the FA Cup. I'm hoping that because at the minute, everybody's doing the hypothetical. Would you rather go for the league or the cup? The league or the cup? I wouldn't be surprised if David Moyes has got a little bit about that too, thinking, can we do both? So if we come down the table and we're still in the cup, we've gone past Manchester United, I'm hoping he does that. You know what? Everything goes on the FA Cup here, all eggs in one basket. But we shouldn't be forced to choose. We should have adequately recruited someone today. Like I said, Gonzo, Sullivan went above David Moyes with Ben Rama and Soufal just to sit there and say, well, the manager doesn't want any. Fuck off, honestly, because it's not stopped you in the past. It's only stopping you now because you don't want to spend any money. It's a convenient excuse, and I know that David Moyes has come out and said, I'm happy with the squad. Listen, happy with the squad doesn't mean you don't want to sign someone. It's perfectly feasible to be happy with the squad and you want more players. We've bid for players. Moyes has confirmed we've bidded for strikers. Moyes has said he wants a striker. We've not got what the manager wants. So to say that he's happy, well, yes, he is to some extent, but he would be happier if we'd actually signed someone else. And I think we're just taking an unnecessary gamble at the minute. And we're gambling with Antonio's hamstrings.
Yeah, and it's a really big gamble because the games are actually coming thick and fast at the moment. Antonio's played there on Sunday. We've got a game Wednesday, got another game at the weekend against Fulham away, I believe. So this is really kind of feels like we're on a knife edge, really, with Antonio. As you say, his hamstrings are like spaghetti, so it's inevitable. Like, Antonio will break down again. And at the moment, it would appear that the plan B for Moyes there is to just chuck Yarmolenko up top. Now, I don't for a second believe that's the answer. It scares the life out of me, Yarmolenko up top for 90 minutes for 4 or 5 games on the bounce until we can get Antonio back. I just do not think that works. Odebeko, who I love, by the way, and I think has a really great future, to ask him at 18 to come in and carry the team would be ridiculous, really. I mean, it's too much to ask of the kid. Now, if we're very lucky, he'll hit the ground running and he'll do okay, but this just seems so like you said, Gio, it just seems so unnecessary to put us in this situation that we all just have to kind of cross our fingers that we're going to kind of get away with it. But I agree about the United game as well. I think that will be pivotal now. A lot will depend on what happens in that game. Like you say, if we go up there and beat them, and I think Moyes will put his strongest team out in that, I do think Moyes will go for it. But I also happen to think Solskjaer will put a very strong team out for that game. But if we can actually go up there and get a result, then I think I agree with you, Gio. I think we have to go all out to try and win that cup. If we win that game at Old Trafford, I mean, it's on. The FA Cup, really, it's on. It's there for us. And I really, really hope more than anything that we have a right go and that we can go up to Old Trafford and get a result. Now, obviously, if we go up there and lose, it's immaterial after that. All that's left is the league, and we just do our best in the league. But I just don't like this. It just feels like, as I said, we're just playing with fire now, and I just don't like it. It's unnecessary for us to be in this situation.
Just change topic. First of all, thank you, Wally, for the $5 there, saying Tommy knows his stuff improved it as the new Friday night likes champ. Just what's coming out now is on social media, and that is 10 minutes ago or something. Sky Carver was on Sky Sports News saying, he was repeating what he said. He said that David Moyes was told this morning he had 20 to 30 million to spend on a striker if he wanted, and obviously he decided not to spend that money. I guess the question is, to put it perfectly blunt and straight, Gonzo, do you believe it?
Yeah, I do. I do believe it, actually. But I believe he was told that last week. I listen, do I believe it's 25 to 30 million? No. Do I believe he had the Haller money? Yeah, because otherwise there's something wrong with the finances. Because the Benrahma was paid for out of Thingy's money, Diangana's money. That has to be it. Now, we had a bit of Hugo, a bit of a Jetty money, plus a lot of money saved on wages. There is money there. They've borrowed heavily as well. I mean, heavily. And also they brought out loan options as well, where they can actually take finances. They have money there to draw on. I don't believe for a second, not for a second, that David Moyes is in such a weak position that he's gonna allow himself to be treated like that by the owners. He can just walk away, and he can do so with his reputation repaired. I firmly believe that. I just think he's got that. I mean, look, it would be horrendous actually if they just said it today. Oh, by the way, you've got 30 million today. No, they would have told him that 2 weeks ago, right? He knows that. The fact of the matter is, 25-30 million is not enough for David Moyes to get who he wants to get. And if you want to talk about lack of ambition, that's really where it lies, basically. It's not enough because we've wasted so much money. We had money there. Felipe Anderson, Sebastian Haller, not enough money. Unfortunately, the one guy that he's targeted, 25 million, ain't going to get it. And I just think he's had a look around and he's thought, I don't think I'll bother. But I think what it does mean is if he said no, David Moyes, and I've seen a few people in the chat worrying about the contract. Clearly, David Moyes is thinking he is signing a contract. He's staying around, basically.
Tommy, you didn't seem so confident.
No, I mean, this seems a kind of bizarre situation that they would say that this morning, like on transfer, like he's finding that out today.
I think he was reiterating today.
Yeah, I think it's 2 week old news.
I think he got told last week Sky Carver and Jim White were peddling the 20-30 million stuff, and I think Sky Carver is sort of reiterating that today David Moyes got reminded you still have 20 to 30 million to spend if you wish.
Yeah, it's kind of because that's kind of something managers love to hear, I'd imagine. I mean, what manager doesn't want to bring in a player at any point? So it's a kind of a weird, like you said, this relationship is very strange between Moyes and Sullivan. It's kind of broken. It's there's some kind of disconnect here that's really kind of affecting the club. I mean, any manager wants to hear that, right? You have 25, 30 million if you want to go grab a player. Any manager surely says, oh yeah, absolutely, I'd love to go grab a player. I need a player for here, or I need two players, one for here and one for here. So
not to replace a £40 million player. I mean, this is inherently the problem.
Well, sure.
As a £45 million player, here you go, you can have 20, 25 million. I don't think it's enough, Tommy. I think every manager wants to hear it, but they want to hear that they've got 50 million to spend, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
We'll soon find out, because I'll tell you what, if it's carried over, then we'll know. I don't think we'll have a massive budget next season, but it means next summer we should have 60 million to spend. I think if we haven't, if all we do next summer is spend 25 million, they can't treat the fans like fools on this. The fans have got memories. We will remember, and we will say, "Hold on a minute, that's the Haller money. Where's our money for this season?" And I think that's the key. That is the real key. If it's David Moyes' decision, and he said, "I'll keep it. I'll put it with next summer's funds, and I'll have 50, 60 million to spend," fine. It's the manager's decision. You can't go against him. If not, then we've all got major problems.
I can only assume it's because he couldn't buy a striker that he really wanted, but I still feel like we could have done something. Even if you didn't want to get a permanent deal done, surely, given how light we are, that we could have found a loan deal from somewhere. A loan deal could be cheap. We paid 1.5 for Jesse Lingard. We could get some kind of half-decent cover, someone who has a bit of Premier League experience. It just seems bizarre to me that we could have made moves and the manager decided not to make any for any player. Like I say, there's some kind of weird disconnect here that I can't put my finger on, but none of this feels normal.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't believe this stuff. It's also who's coming from as well. With Sky Cava and Jim White, there's the last two people I would trust in regards to honesty when it comes to West Ham United, and particularly when it's news that benefits one person at West Ham more than anyone else. We know where they've got that information from. We know that, despite what they'll claim, so on and so forth. Josh King's a prime example. I believe he's just signed for Everton for $5 million. $5 million for Josh King, someone that David Moyes apparently really, really wanted. So either he didn't really want him, or he wasn't allowed $5 million to go get him. I don't believe this whole 20 to 30 million. I also don't understand. I said this to Gonzo before. There's a 10 million discrepancy here. You can't just say you've got 20 to 30. What does that mean, 20 to 30? It's either 20 or 30 or somewhere in the middle. What is it? You can't be 20 to 30. It's far too big a discrepancy. I don't believe it at all.
Sorry, Gio, just quickly, just because I honestly do have to go in a second. I want to say something here because there's something that's being missed, and I think it's the weirdest thing about the whole situation is why would you leak that information? All right, I don't think even Jim White, I can't stand him. He's not made it up. They've got that information from somewhere. Why, as an owner of a corporate entity which he believes it to be, like West Ham, leak that private information that is financial detail? What the manager's got as his budget. David Moyes won't have leaked that at all. David Moyes is keeping his cards close to his chest, right? There's only one reason for leaking that, and here's what's completely contradictory about it. The only reason for leaking that is to let the fans know. It's basically saying, "Oh, we had the money. The manager's decided not to." Now, people will say that they're throwing Moyes under the bus. I don't believe that particularly, because I do believe Moyes would have made the final decision. Otherwise, Moyes would just leave. If Moyes was mucked about to the tune of 30 million, he said, "I'm taking it. I'm taking my backroom staff and I'm going." Right? However, why leak the information? It makes no sense. They're leaking it for good PR for themselves, to make themselves look good, so they can say, "Oh, look, we were going to back the manager." Why then, if you're bothered about PR and care what the fans think, have you behaved the way you have in the last month? It makes no sense. It's completely contradictory. And I just think it's really unprofessional to leak financial details. I think it's a bizarre thing to do, actually.
Well, they're passing the no signings buck, essentially, to Moyes and saying, look, could have signed players, decided not to. Money was there. Don't look at us.
I agree with what you're saying, Gonzo, but I disagree with the phrase. I think they are chucking Moyes under the bus here. I think as soon as it goes tits up, they're going to say, "Well, you know who to blame? That man that decided not to spend the money. It's him to blame. You could have brought a striker in. He chose not to. Blame the manager."
Well, they played a dangerous game because at Moyes' stock is a lot higher than our board stock because Moyes can walk away to another job. Moyes can. His stock in the game is a lot higher. I've said this before. When they started off, Sullivan was wearing the trousers in the relationship. Now Sullivan isn't. But David Moyes is more attractive than David Sullivan. David Moyes will find himself courted by other clubs, and David Sullivan will find himself in a situation where he's only got Chris Newton to attract again.
And I'll tell you what, they're playing fire as well because I think David Moyes is nobody's fool. let's be clear here. David Moyes is not some shrinking violet, I think, who'll allow himself to be walked all over either. I think the man has his pride, and I think he's actually a man of principle. And I think if this story is leaked and it's BS about him having 20 to 30 million and just having decided not to spend it, I think there's a real chance here that we could see a backlash from Moyes himself. Moyes could say, hey, fuck this. That's bullshit. Moyes is not stupid. He's going to see what they're doing, trying to pass the buck because there's no striker brought in. So it'd be interesting to see. I would love to see it, actually. I'd love Moyes to come out, actually, and say, actually, that was bullshit.
It's probably not. We're probably half right here. It probably is true. So David Moyes isn't going to say that, but David Moyes is going to think, why leak it? This was our private conversation. Why put it out there? That's what might be. It may well be that David Moyes has said, no, I'll save the money. So it's probably half true, but he still will feel betrayed, but not enough to walk out, if you know what I mean.
I still think Moyes is a bit of a yes man, though. I still think he is. I know you say a man of principle. Well, he got binned off by these owners and come back. I don't think he does. He's still only got a 6-month contract. He still needs that contract at the end of the season. Do I think he could walk and get a new job? Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Gonzo. I think his stock is higher. The problem is, David Sullivan doesn't believe that. David Sullivan, at no point will David Sullivan believe David Moyes is better in terms of stock within the footballing world. David Sullivan will always think, well, I'm the one that controls the shots here. I'm the one that's got your contract. I'm the one that puts an extra 10 grand onto your wage at the end of the season if I want to. Moyes needs a new contract. He's got to keep his mouth shut. And that contract he's currently got will have umpteen disclosures in it, which stops him speaking about against the board. There's a reason Sam Allardyce, Pellegrini, Slaven Bilic, and all the ones before that have worked under these board will not say a thing. It's in their contract. They can't speak out against them. They've got to remain professional. They've got to remain tight-lipped. And they've got to tread the company line. And to some extent, I agree with that. You don't want to employ someone who goes gobbing off about your company. You've got to have them.
Just the owners should be doing it. Yeah, just the owners gobbing off. All the time. Claret and Hugh. Giving them stuff all the time. We know where Claret and Hugh's information is coming from. They're running interference for the board constantly. So, look, they're constantly leaking, even though David Moyes has publicly said, look, we have to stop all this bloody leaking. But how are you going to stop all the leaking when it's coming from the very top? This is just more, of the cretinous behavior, really, that we get from David Sullivan. He's actually kind of a nasty piece of shit, I think, to be completely honest.
Do you want to get off the fence there, Tommy?
Well, no, I just hate this stuff. It's just snide. It's backhanded and it's snide and it's unnecessary. And as Gonzo said, you don't leak this stuff.
It's private. It's private financial discussion between the manager and the owner. It's not for public consumption. It's not to be. It's just not. It's just not appropriate.
Yeah, this is like those moments. Sometimes when you see a manager go too far in an interview after a game or something, and completely throw a player under the bus, and dig him out, and you're thinking, "Oh Jesus, look, that's for the dressing room." You shouldn't be saying this on Sky Sports or BT after the game. You should be having this conversation with the player in the dressing room. Because the player's not going to like this. This is basically what we're seeing from our own chairman.
It takes us for fools. I can make up my own mind, and I honestly, everyone can make up their own mind, but we're all meant to believe. And I was quite happy to believe that David Moyes was going to bring someone else he wanted in the summer. You just don't need this additional bit. Listen, I've got to go. I've not seen my wife in 2 days.
I was going to say, can we park this for tonight in a bit and pick it up tomorrow or something? We'll do a random video tomorrow or something. Gonzo, I'll see you in a bit. I just want to say a massive thank you to Chris Harris. He put $4.99 into the super chat for patrons fund. Thank you very much, Chris. Charlie, what you saying?
Just Gonzo said what I was desperate to say, which is think about why they're leaking it now. And it's the question of do you remember, Gio will remember this because you're a Bilic fanboy like I am. Do you remember that article they put out after the one where we didn't get a DM and they're like, oh, well, we offered him Renato Sanchez and all of this, but it turns out he didn't want him and he was happy. We back him all the way. it's that again. They've got an MO for doing this. They've always done this. They're always going to do this. This is what they're doing. The only reason they're doing it now is because hashtag GSB out was starting to pick up trend again. Tommy, when you first came on, you literally said it's starting to get there again because Twitter was ablaze with it. I've been doing DMs for this show, so I've seen it happening. All of a sudden, towards the last 20 minutes, bang, it was starting to go up again. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Sky Carver was like, oh, I think, he was offered 20 to 30 million this morning. It's weird how that happens, isn't it? It's weird how literally the second it starts trending, all of a sudden he walks up and goes, oh, well, I think this happened, when we all know sort of where he gets his information from. It's mad. It's actually mad, but it's not expected. It's not a surprise. It's expected at this point because it's just what they do. It's what they always do, and it's what they always will do. And the problem is when you've got, I don't want to talk about Moyes because people know my opinion on Moyes, but when you've got someone who is in a position of weakness in that scenario, then what the hell what's he meant to do? Because like you say, Gio, I think he could go and get another. At this point, his reputation is almost secured. He's almost managed to rebuild his reputation at West Ham, but I don't know if he's willing to take that risk, let alone anyone else.
I think he would take over from the next Premier League manager to go. If we're talking like bottom half of the table, if someone panics down there, I think David Moyes gets the call most likely if he's not at West Ham.
If you're in his position,
yeah, I understand what you're saying. Look, I completely agree with what you and Gio are saying as regards position of strength. He isn't in a bind at the moment. I mean, things are going great on the field at West Ham, and he does probably have to bite his tongue. But I think it's hard to know where somebody's breaking point is, where their own ego and pride finally snaps, regardless of the situation, and they just say, fuck this, enough now. And you just wonder, where is David Moyes' breaking point, and is he anywhere near it yet?
If anything, it just puts into perspective Martin O'Neill's breaking point was before he even joined the club, because he saw it from a mile away and was like, nope, see you later, bye. The only one. What a man.
Apparently, what was the other one? Was it Bielsa? I think we were interested in Bielsa before we took on Pellegrini, and apparently he declined us because he just did not want to work for them.
Well, we had that other guy from Shakhtar, was in the manager of Shakhtar at the time. He came over for an interview with Sullivan, and we never heard of him again. I think he signed a contract with his current club, and they said, "Oh well, he was using West Ham to get a better deal." Oh bollocks! He walked in there, spoke to and thought, "No chance. I'll stay where I am. Thank you very much." We got him in the room, and then once he was in the room with Sullivan, he decided he did not want to come to West Ham United. There's other managers as well that have turned us down. There'll be other managers we don't know about because of the lack of plan, the lack of strategy. And I just wish that Sullivan, the amount of effort he puts in to try and win the PR game in the mainstream media, I wish he put that effort into every other part of the club, and we'd be all right. If he was able to pull the strings in transfer market like he can with TalkSport and Sky Sports, we'd be doing pretty well. It's
Probably
just
you've got to pick and choose your battles, right? Sometimes you have to know when you've defeated, when you've lost. He's lost. He's always going to be lost because the game got away from him a long time ago. And the problem is the only person who can't see it is him. And so he's going to keep doing this because he doesn't realize.
The problem is he wants to control the narrative in the mainstream media, and it works. We've got people on TalkSport backing him, saying, "What are this fans moaning about? They're fifth in the league," kind of thing. Well, you when we're losing, you say it's all about results. Once you start winning, you'll shut up. We start winning, we start complaining. They say, "What are you moaning about? You're fifth. Shut up. We're never allowed to complain." When would you like us to complain then? When we're eighth? What, Mr. TalkSport, when are West Ham fans ideally meant to complain? But whenever we speak up, mainstream media bat us back down again because they're fed the PR train from West Ham United, and they would rather believe something that David Sullivan tells them than what Charlie Walsh or Irish Tommy tells them. And to some extent, I understand, but it's a bit frustrating. They play the PR war, Sullivan. Sullivan thinks the war with the fans is won in the mainstream media, and to some extent, he's not that wrong.
He's not wrong, but at the same time, has he actually won that war? If like GSB out is trending, and if the fans are mostly
he might not be wrong as regards the perception outside of the club, right? So he may garner some sympathy from the media class. He may garner some sympathy from fans of other teams who might sit there who don't really know the ins and outs of this. or don't really know the details, who might sit there and say, "Oh, what are they bloody complaining about? These West Ham fans are moaning all the time." He might win that PR battle, but it will make no difference internally. Like, West Ham fans will see through that, obviously, because we know the reality, whereas some of the media people and fans of other teams don't really know the detail, don't know the actual reality on the ground. So yeah, he can kind of get them to believe that maybe we're just a bit whiny and complainy, but who cares? They're not going to save him. Fans from other teams will not save this board. The media will not save this board. Not when we're knocking at the gates. I want to use the analogy of the pitchforks and fucking torches, but essentially that's what we're talking about here. When we're at the gates, they will not come to save them. So he can run all this interference if he wants and put out whatever he wants to put out into the press to try and give whatever impression he wants to give to the outside world. But we are in this thing. We're the fans, and we know. And when we're kicking down the gates, the media and fans of other teams will not come to save them. We will get them out, and I believe that, because we're determined to get them out. And I cannot wait for that day.
And let's be real, it's not like they've entirely won that battle either, because they had to sue Sky to make him apologise because a bunch of journalists went on their thing and went, no, they're crap, actually. So it's not even like they fully won that battle. They've got a couple of people who come out and try out the same old nonsense, but still. I mean, on positive news, Gio, we actually managed to get our transfer deadline day moment. It actually happened. Flipping Peach came on. He went wild. The chat went wild. What I saw, Irish Tommy was in the backstage just having an absolute ball watching it as well. I was losing it. What a moment. What a moment. What a man.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. It puts stuff into perspective sometimes, doesn't it? You always need a little bit of reality. And we got a little bit of there saying, stamping our feet and thumping the desk with no transfers. And all of a sudden, the generosity comes flooding in. And some blokes just gone and got pitching for a year for free, thanks to everybody watching.
Yeah, and his fellow fans just literally just made the guy's year.
Did you saw how buzzing he was? We probably shouldn't have took him off. I wish I muted him and left him on the screen so people could see him but not hear him. But them two, Charlie and Tommy, were backstage and could see him backstage as well. He's buzzing after it. He's proper fist pumping the air and so on and so forth. And it's meant a lot to him. It means a lot to us as well, actually. There's people donating for him to be a patron that aren't even a patron. It was fantastic. You know, it was just a really, really nice moment as well. One of my favourite things about Hammers Chat, and we've been doing this 7 years this year, I think we've been doing it for. Beautiful. Anyway, let's start wrapping this up.
Very quickly, if you're a Patreon, Peach, I know you're in there. I'm going to email you to come on our Patreon show, Two Spanners, One Hammer. If you're a patron, watch out for that, because I might do it live and just go absolutely wild with it.
I was on there. It was with you and Ray. That was a lot of fun. It's a good show.
Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate
Tommy,
it.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure we'll see you very, very soon in a video. I'd like to have almost continued that conversation we were having. But Gonzo had to disappear. It's getting late. We'll maybe pick up tomorrow or something, and we'll continue from there. But Tommy, thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Charlie, thank you. Thank you for your hard work. For those that don't know, Charlie works in the background during the live stream. So when this thing's been going on for 3.5 hours, Charlie's been here for 3.5 hours. And we had Chris Scobusi, ex-West employee, lots of West Ham fans, and massive generosity to make one West Ham fan's year. What a show, Charlie.
It's worth doing, innit? It makes it worth doing. It makes sitting down for 3.5 hours on your butt worth doing, you know?
Now and again, you get them moments you think, that's why I do Hammers Chat. Anyway, Mr. Walsh, I'm way to bed. You're not. You stay up till about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. playing games, but enjoy whatever you're way to play, and I'll see you in a bit. But listen, if you've made it to the end of this video, please drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're around here. If you're interested in becoming a patron, like what Peach is a way to become, then go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. All the links are in the description. Your support is muchly appreciated. And #fulltime fund. We'll explain in a few videos. Charlie, see you soon.
Bye.